And we are live. What's good, Josh, your man, DL Saint? Welcome to the Downrange Podcast. That's right, Downrange. I told you, we're gonna be doing a lot of Downrange podcast stuff this for from now until November. We are in an election cycle, y'all. So y'all know what it is. Hope all is well on your end. Thanks for coming through, y'all. I appreciate y'all as always. Um, so yeah, let's give yourselves one more hand. One more hand. You know what I mean? Happy Monday to everybody. Happy Monday to everyone. Got through the long weekend and back to the grind. Like I said, you probably noticed like, yo, Saint, man, you putting up a lot of shorts, man. You putting up the DL shorts, you putting out those YouTube shorts. Yes, I'm gonna continue. I'm going to continue doing it. Um, it is what it is, man. I'm just gonna go hard. And I'm having fun with this, and it is work, but and then there's the potential to actually make some coin doing it. So, and the best part about it, we get to open up this forum to conversation, man. We get to have real conversation, and we can dance around the smoke and mirrors. There are a lot of people out there who they want to stay in the smoke and mirrors, bro. They want to keep their heads buried in the sand. They want to fall for the okie doke, bro. There's a lot of people out there like that. uh I'm just trying to look at it for what it really is. When I see these things, and it is what it is. Yeah, it's just so many Americans, man, today just they don't want to have to use this. They don't want to put it through the old
think tank. Arch, nothing gets past the old think tank. Nothing.
They don't want to put it through the old think tank. They want it to be easy. Oh, don't make me think. Don't make me work. Just tell me what I got to do. Nah, man, y'all got to think this stuff through. So there's a lot going on. So today we're gonna delve into um should women have to register for selective service? Like, should women be drafted? That's tied to the vote. There's a lot of people out there talking about the right to vote, and everyone has their opinion on it. There's a lot of people in the manosphere like, man, women shouldn't be able to vote, and they state whatever reasons they state for that. I kind of shake my head on that. I'm not one of those dudes. What I mean? If you're grown, I think everyone should have the right to vote. However, it is a right, and that right comes with certain obligations, and one of those obligations should be service. You should, women should absolutely have to register with selective services, just like I had to do. Even though I knew I was going to join the military as a young guy, I knew I was going to the army. Um, Not just military. I knew I was going to the army. I knew I was going to be airborne, but everyone should have to register for selective service. Um, that should be part of. That's just it. So I stumbled onto a clip from whatever podcast. Shout out to whatever podcast. If anyone hasn't seen it, if you're not familiar with it, it's basically Fresh and Fit in LA. So I mean, Brian, I guess the guy who runs it is not as hardcore. You know what I mean? He's not as hardcore, but they get it. They have a table and they get a bunch of women, young women, and basically talk about the same things that Myron and Fresh talk about when they do the late night shows. They talk about uh, the sexual marketplace, and they talk about morals. They talk about uh having a high body count, a lot of sexual partners. They talk about traditional versus non-traditional men and women. In this segment, they're going to be talking about the oppression of women, and that kind of spiraled into a whole bunch of stuff. And this platform talks about feminism, and a lot of people look at feminism, and they don't look at feminism for what it looks like today. Not the way it looked when it started in the 1800s. Not the way it looked when women got together so they can stand up against slavery, and it was an abolitionist movement, really. And the women, I guess they call it first wave feminism. The women back then were upset because the men would not allow them to sign their names on a resolution to abolish slavery. Like it was the women who started to, really got behind the abolitionist movement and really, you know, came together and put their lives at risk to end slavery. That's where feminism started. It went from that to getting women's rights to earn money and to, to be legal individuals and stuff like that, to own property, have bank accounts, have businesses and stuff like that. And then that led to the right to vote, right? And then that led into second wave feminism, which is some other stuff. And then it turned into what we have today. So, yeah. So, a lot of people don't understand it. They don't understand where it came from, what it has, morphed into. And there are a lot of people who will tell you, like, well, today's feminism really is just female supremacy. I mean, that's just all it is if you really look at it. It's not about equality. It's not. It's about supremacy. It's about having an upper hand, a legal upper hand. It's about being able to wield that as a weapon. It is what it is. Like I say, man, don't hate the players, hate the game. Got a problem with that, you need to change the game. How do you change the game? Well, in this situation, it would be through the vote. You know what I mean? So, and then we got a lot of dudes who don't vote. They don't pay attention, but women do. Women vote. You know what I mean? So, we're going to get into that today. We got brother Cody in the house, man. Cody is king. What's up, fam? What up, boss? My thoughts are no, they shouldn't be going into service. But if they truly want equality and an equal vote, then they have to. Otherwise, stop playing the equality game. And that's where we're getting at right there, bro. Appreciate that, man. Shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you. I'm going to get into that Discord, bro. I went through some BS. I'm back on course, man. I'm going to start just jumping in there just random times, and I'm going to do what you said. I'm going to do what you said. Yes. I'm speaking code to my homeboy. Yeah, he know what I'm talking about. I'm going to be in there, bro. You know what I mean? Thanks again for all the input you give me, man, and all the guidance, man. I really appreciate it. So, and that, that's my thing is this. Yes. And we're going to get into the specifics here. We're going to, start watching this video and break it down. Yo, I ain't gonna lie to you. I truly believe in equality. You know what I mean? If women want to be equal, let's do that. Let's do that. I'm 100. I'm all in. Let's do it. But what we have now is not equality. I would say it's more female supremacy. And the laws and the courts and everything else is being used as a weapon. Like it is what it is. It's an unfair fight. Myron from Fresh and Fit, Myron Gaines says it all the time. You know what I mean? These platforms, when I talk about this sort of thing and whatever platform and Fresh and Fit and, Rolo Tomasi's platform and Rich Cooper and all the rest, is simply telling young men and men in general, these are the rules of engagement. Y'all going into this fight. Well, Myron says all the time, you're going into the fight with a spoon and they're using a bazooka or something like that. You know what I mean? You're going into this fight with nothing. You're unarmed basically, and they are sitting back ready to tear you up. And it's don't get mad if they tear you up. You know what I'm saying? Brother Dusto's in the house, man. Scam Likely. What's good, fam? So yeah, let's pull this up, man. Like I said, so the Whatever podcast, I stumbled onto this platform a few months ago. And like I said, it's basically, it's the nice version of Fresh and Fit. It's on the West Coast. There's been a lot of content creators who've tried to duplicate Myron and Fresh's success, with the Fresh and Fit podcast. And this is the one podcast that was able to do it. It's fairly successful. There's a lot of people to watch it. The host of this particular platform is, you'll see here, he's like really using kid gloves when he's dealing with these young ladies. And again, y'all want to be equal, y'all want to be like men, and hey, we don't use kid gloves when we get down as men. We use boxing gloves. You know what I mean? It's full contact over here. So I'm all for it, but he doesn't, he doesn't get too hardcore. He does a little bit. Sometimes he pushes back harder than normal, but he's nothing like, what's going on the Fresh and Fit podcast. But the conversations and the topics are very, very similar. So let's get into this, man. Which one are we going to use? Yeah, we'll go with this one. We'll start with that one. right? So we're gonna pull this up. Let me set it up. This thing starts around 3 minutes. I'm always late on getting stuff set up, guys. I apologize. I should have had this set up and ready to go. And here we are. Now we're all set. So in this clip, this young woman right here, the one with the pigtails, she's pretty much the one that's, really leading this oppression talk and patriarchy and men are bad stuff. I don't apparently she is a fan favorite, I should say, on this platform. Apparently she's been here a couple times. I think they said she's 21. She has an OF account, so she's doing that. And I'm not sure if she has any college. Most of the women that come on this show, and I would say the majority, are college students. But every now and then you get OF, creators and stuff like that, and then you get maybe like exotic dancers and stuff like that. So I mean, they have a mixture, but I would say the majority of the young women that come on this platform are college kids or college educated. So so just to give you a quick background on that. So she was pretty much the focus. She is the focus of this clip. So let's get into it.
There's a lot of violence against
But when you
women.
think of oppression, what is your definition of oppression?
I don't know really how to explain it, to be honest. But I'm just
I mean, you
trying.
use the word, you ought to know how to define it if you just use the word.
Yeah, I just don't know exactly how to, like, why do you want me to explain that? That's what I'm getting.
Well, I
like,
mean, you've used a word, you ought to be able to.
yeah, you're just putting me on the spot. You just want to embarrass me, and I'm
I'm
to
not-
tell you this now. It's not going to happen, Brian. Because guess what? I'll dip right now if
Because-
you're.
So she was talking about how women are oppressed in America and all this other kind of stuff, right? We skipped over the majority of that. I wanted to skip to this part here where the host of the show, the Brian guy's like, all right, well, what do you mean oppressed? What do you mean oppressed? Define oppression. Let us know how you are using the word. And she couldn't do it. And she got real nervous. Now it's not as if he's sitting there saying, give me the Webster's dictionary definition of oppression. He didn't ask for that. He's basically saying, yo, tell me how you are using this word. What do you mean by that when you use this word? I say now, and you just put me on the spot. You're trying to embarrass me. She's threatening to leave, which she continues to do all the time. So right off rip, it's like, okay, you can't even defend your statements and you can't tell me what you think this word means. So right off rip, it's like, it's kind of like like what Brother Dusto was saying. She is a pre-victim. Absolutely. Like she just right off the rip. You can hear her voice begin to crack a little bit and quiver. Like she's talking about, I'll just leave. Well, why don't you just leave then? Sister, Miss AKA ladies in the house. What's good, sis? How you feeling? Good to see you. You got here right on time. We just getting started. So let's continue.
Because we're having a polite conversation.
No, because I already know what this is about. We talked about this last podcast, so why do you want to bring it up again?
Well, we didn't really talk about it.
Okay, well, I'm not going to say anything else because it's not my job to school you and educate you, Brian.
Well, I mean, that's a very
and I'm not going to say anything else, and I'm going to stay quiet now.
I mean, that's a very convenient way to shut down a otherwise polite conversation. I gave you an opportunity to speak, so I think you should. You're just not going to talk? Why is this such a sensitive subject for you?
Because
but let me ask you a question. Can we engage in this?
I don't want to, Brian.
Hold on.
I didn't
hold
even
on.
want to come
Stop
here
interrupting.
in the first place. You literally asked me to be here. I said no thanks. And you're like, come on.
Okay, well, and?
So right off rip, she's all in her feelings, right? She feels that she's being attacked, right? She feels that he's the reason why she's there. I wouldn't be here if you didn't ask me to be here. Like, I didn't come and pick you up, right? She got all this. She's upset because she's in a room and she has to stand on her own. She has to go 10 toes down on her own. This is what you do when you're a big guy. You want to be a big guy or a big girl, you're going to have to stand up and you're going to have to defend whatever it is you're talking about. He asked a simple question. What's the definition of this word? Like how are you using this word? That's That's all he was saying. You know what I mean? Brother Cody is like, it's typical. You know what I mean? And it's like, all right, again, she's young or whatever. But when I was growing up, if I were going to make a statement, if I'm going to engage in some sort of debate, I had to be willing to back what I say. I can't sit back and be like, well, I'm not gonna say anything. No one respects that. And as a young guy, as a young boy, that was my thing. I need to earn respect. I'm gonna sit here, even if I'm wrong. I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna try to get my point across. And then if I, you know what I mean, if whoever I'm negotiating with, not negotiating, but whoever I'm debating with, right? If they have a stronger argument, okay, cool. That doesn't mean I'm like, okay, well, you're right. I'm like, all right, you won this round. I'm gonna go do some research. I'll be back. You won this round. You know what I mean? Brother Francisco's in the house. What's good, fam? F and F gang. Yeah, we up in here, player. You know what it is. Thanks for coming through, man. Appreciate it. Yo, brother Cody, I'm a victim. And if you challenge me, you are attacking me. Yep. That's what it is. I'm a victim. And you can't move like that, ladies. Seriously, ladies, if you're truly about equality and you want to be on the same level as men, you're going to have to stand up. There's a lot of women out there who do just that. Miss AKA lady is really good at standing up on, standing on her morals 10 toes down and defending herself, in a discussion or a debate. Miss Globe Girl is really good at that as well. Mel King is real good at that. Suzette Speaks real good at that. The list goes on and on and on. Women they have no problem defending their beliefs. None. So when I see stuff like that, I'm like, does that young girl really want equality? Or does she just want to continue to be treated better than men? She just wants to get what life has to offer, the privileges and the opportunities, and she doesn't want to have to work for it. Those are the arguments being made. Right? I ain't mad. You know what I'm saying? If I could get the opportunity, I want the opportunity. But as a man, I know, generally speaking, I'm gonna have to work my butt off to get that opportunity. And once I get it, I better not blow it. You know what I mean? So, and if I do blow it, I blew it. It's no one else's fault. It's mine. Hey, y'all already know. Y'all know I'm caught up in the family court system. It's my fault. I got myself into this. It is what it is. Right? I knew full well what the laws were like, and I knew the risk that I was taking. It is what it is. So when young guys come to me, that's one of the things that I teach them. Like, make sure you understand this, and I can use hard numbers. This is how it works. I can pull out documentation. Here are the, here's the court record. This is what happened when I went in there. This is how I was treated. You can read this for yourself and tell me what you think. That's how I move now. This is the situation on the ground. Right? And it's not just my case. There are thousands and thousands of cases out there. You can see it in real time. You watch it. Watch it on TV. And just watch people getting brutalized. The majority of guys getting brutalized definitely are men, but there are women out there getting wrecked too. And the same family court system. They're getting wrecked. If you don't know the game and you go in there unprepared, you are going to get wrecked. That law system is like a great white shark. It has dead eyes. It does not care who it devours. Y'all need to understand that. You know what I mean? Miss AKA lady, I don't like when women can't articulate themselves logically. It feeds to the narrative that women work solely on emotion. More women need to study logic, debating before getting on these panels. Absolutely. Miss Globe Girl's in the house. I just mentioned you. What's good, sis? My favorite sailors up in this piece. Let's continue with the video. We're going to jump ahead. So right there, we see off rip that she was very uncomfortable with defending her position. Very uncomfortable. And when the host challenged her position, she wanted to take her toys home with her. Just leave. I'm just going to grab up my toys and leave. You're trying to put me on the spot. You're trying to make me look bad. No, you're making yourself look bad. You here. You were here. You came here. So She didn't like that one bit, y'all. So let's jump to the next time hack. See, 555, where they're going to talk about the problems we face right now in America, and in particular with this stuff that's going on with social media and stuff like that. You know, and here's the thing. There's another guy there who's acting like a guest, maybe co-host, because the hosts will rotate in men as well as women. And he basically put on the kid gloves and was coddling this girl, this young woman. She's 21. And he's just like, well, no, you know, he's choosing his words wisely and all this because everyone there is trying to do what they can to keep this woman here. Everyone has to tiptoe around this person. That's not being equal. That's not how men move. If you want to be a man, you're going to have to move in the big boy world. That's not how we treat each other. It's starting to be the case now because, you know, these males are so soft these days. These guys get their feelings hurt so quick. I think it's funny. You know what I mean? But let's check it out. Let's look at this next part.
A previously negative and feminist girlfriend.
Echo chamber.
Let me ask you something. So like, hold on. Let me rephrase my thoughts. A lot of people in.
Did you see how he had to sit there and really let me think about these words I'm about to use on this individual because this individual appears to be so fragile. Did you see that? Did you see that? Ladies, this is a bad thing. I agree with Miss AKA lady. This makes all women look bad. Just like these weak dudes make all dudes look bad. The simpletons out there. Y'all make us all look bad. You know what I mean? But let's continue.
Both red pill, blue pill community could benefit from this conversation. And this is again back to the previous conversation where this is the problem. Let's have a civil discourse. Let's talk about it. And most people resort to shutting down. People are trying to understand.
He's not trying to understand. He's trying to get some views. He literally said, let's make it spicy or whatever. Like, let's get you heated because he knows that's going to get him good revenue.
And this is,
he knows that.
Well, I didn't say that.
I said it's because you want to know why it gets so many views. It's because this is the problem that we're facing.
Conversations like
so if we're able to actually have this conversation, I would also like to understand your point of view. I understand like it could come off as a bit like attacking, but a lot of people out there, a majority of people are trying to understand the situation, men and women. So if you're for women,
but no matter anything I say, it's still not going to change your guys' beliefs because you guys.
And then she gets right into like this part right here is another thing. Like, anything I say is not going to change your beliefs. Did you see how this young man was trying to talk and engage with this person? Come on. I mean, he had everything but like the little puppy dog voice on. Come on, don't go home. Come on. Why don't you just talk and you can help us all out? And that ain't how it's done, people. That ain't how it's done. You know what I mean? And, you know, there's a lot of my friends on the political right. They do the exact opposite. They can't articulate their position either. So what do? They just get loud and scream and it just talk over you. That's not how it's done either. It's in the middle, guys. It's in the middle. Let's hear your views, bro. Let's hear what you have to say about this. And I'm going to say what I got to say about this. Right? And we'll let those who are listening decide. I get a lot of people that jump into the comments now, especially on those shorts. And they're coming in there looking for smoke and they want all this. I'm just like, look, bro. Listen, cuz you know, it was a lot of stuff on there about some stuff about Clarence Thomas. I'm like, look, bro, dude should have known better. What he did was stupid. He opened himself up, and guess what? If you gonna give the other side, your opposition, if you're gonna give them an opportunity to do something too, they're gonna do it. So now you got AOC, like I'm gonna file the papers of impeachment myself because this looks like that. You know, this Supreme Court justice has been bought and paid for by his 1%er friend. That's what it looks like. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know if any rules were violated, any laws were broken. We don't know any of that. We don't know nothing. But here she comes, right? And I guarantee you this, if it were a liberal judge doing the same thing, somebody from the right would be filing the paperwork as well. So I had somebody, you know, in the comments, trying to go hard. And I'm like, look, man, listen. You know what I mean? Thanks for the engagement. But what he did was dumb. And if he loses his seat, that's what he gets. If I am let's say that I'm like, I run the FBI. If I'm the director of the FBI and my best friend has ties to the Colombian cartel, like the Medellin cartel, right? And my best friend is letting me use his private jet, let me use his yacht. I'm hanging out with his friends, all expenses paid. I ain't got to go in my pocket for nothing. People like, hold on. He has ties to the cartel. Yeah, but that's just his family. He's a lawyer. This is my best friend. This is my buddy. And here's the thing, we might not be doing anything illegal, but it looks horrible. It looks horrible. You're going to lose your position, period. You got to be smart about it. That's dumb. Right, but this person was expecting me to get into this knockdown, drag out. They're thinking, well, he must be on the left. He's liberal. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm just looking at it. I understand the game. I'm just watching this. I care less. Honestly, I think it's a bad look for America. You gonna tell me that this Clarence Thomas has no idea between right and wrong? He doesn't know what looks good and what doesn't look good. You trying to tell me that? Come on. Did he forget how hard it was for him to get that seat in the first place? They came after him over some pubic hairs on a Pepsi can or whatever soda can. Come on now. He forgot that? Like, stop it. Stop it. Hey, man, whatever happens to do, happens to do. I could care less. You know what I mean? And if that gives the liberals another seat on Supreme Court, it is what it is. It's extreme, dirty politics. They going hard. Like, it is what it is. You should know better. Move accordingly, bro. You're going to do your dirt, man, or whatever, your perceived dirt, do it in the shadows. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. You know what I mean? And but yeah, Miss AKA Lady like, I'm allergic to the word all. She don't make me look like anything, LOL. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not allergic to the word all. People judge me by my cover all the time. And it doesn't matter if I'm wearing what I'm wearing or where I am or what I'm doing. I could have on a tuxedo, top hat, and tails, and could be, with the royal family. People gonna look at me a certain way. You know what I mean? Because maybe the guy before me that looked like me did something a certain way. It is what it is. And I get what you're saying, sis. I really do. But unfortunately, you know what I mean? It is what it is. And it's a shame. I think it really is a shame. Brother Cody's King sounds like she is disingenuous. I believe you. You know what I mean? Oh man. So I'm glad y'all are, doing what y'all doing in the chat. And again, we're gonna start doing this Monday through Friday, 6:00 Eastern Standard Time. I'm gonna go live. I'm not even gonna mix the times up anymore. I'm just gonna go live. And if I do extra, I'll do extra. And on Saturdays and Sundays, it's gonna be 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm gonna go live. No matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, I'm gonna go live. And I plan on being busy this summer, so it's gonna be a challenge, but it's gonna be fun. So let's get back to the video. Let's look at some more of this. Let's see, where are we? Okay.
Guys live by this. Like Brian has
Okay,
this
here's another thing.
podcast about
let me
it.
just address that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so
Like
the purpose, let me just explain something. The purpose of debate isn't necessarily to convince the person that you're debating with. It's to convince the audience.
I don't want to
because I'm not going to
bro. This
but-
is a bunch of incels. I don't
No,
want to. They're
okay,
not
first
gonna
off, don't
listen
insult
to
my
me.
audience. They're not incels. Okay, so
Okay.
no, don't disrespect the platform, okay? So the purpose of a debate is not necessarily to convince the other person. It's to convince the viewer, the listener. But it's just interesting because I gave you a minute, 2 minutes to explain your position. And then when I push back a little bit, you're like, no, we're done. Like,
because I don't have the time. And Brian, it's so late. I have a long drive back home. And honestly, I don't want to argue right now, to be honest.
I don't want to argue right now. I drove, look, LA, they're out in California, man. LA is spread out. I mean, it's indeed possible that she spent over an hour and a half plus just getting there. And she's saying, I didn't drive all this way to debate. Why did you come here? Like, you've been on the show before. It's not like she didn't know. Like she said, she's been on the show before. They've even talked about this very subject before. And she drove and she's sitting there like, well, I don't want to talk about this. You know what I mean? You got your incel friends, your viewers out there. She's sitting there insulting him, insulting the platform. Why are you there? Why are you there? Oh, you got an OF account. You're back because when you were there the first time, all those incel dudes, those involuntarily celibate dudes jumped onto your OF account. You made a ton of money. So she's sitting there pointing her finger across the way saying, you got me on here because it's going to be controversial. You're going to make some money. Well, baby, you're going to make some money too. You're going to make more doing whatever it is you're doing on your account on OF. This is what I don't understand. This is the part that gets me, man. It's crazy. You know what I mean? Let's say, hey, lady, she's like, I know you're right, but I still reject it. And that's about using the term. Oh, you know what I mean? And look, Cody is King is like, oh, the deflection is hilarious. It is, bro. Like, can't even own it. Shield is so far up, she can't see over it. Facts. You know what I mean? It is what it is, man. But let's continue.
Maybe if you brought it up like a little bit sooner, like I'm kind of worn out, to be honest.
Well, maybe we'll have to do round 3. I will end it on this though. I think I don't expect you to respond and you don't have to respond, but I will at least address the points that you brought up. So you said that basically the patriarchy theory, that men built this country for other men. Now, I agree with you on the first part. Men did build this country. However, men didn't build it for the benefit of other men. They built it for their families, their wives, their sons, their daughters. So I agree with you that yes, this country and all countries, in fact, have been built on the backs of men, but it's not for the benefit of other men. In fact, they've actually done studies on this. Men have an out-group bias. So men have an out-group bias for women, whereas women have an in-group bias for other women. In other words,
and then he goes in and talks about the sisterhood. So, and again, we're gonna move to another part because this really gets good. But what he's saying, that I don't think that anyone really disputes, other than a certain faction, a small percentage of young women out there and older women too. Men built the world. And like you said, they didn't build it for the benefit of other men. They built it so they can make their lives better or safer for their families, their wives, their daughters, their sons, etc. And she's arguing that, well, women are just have been oppressed and they're oppressed and all men are the oppressors. And he's arguing, no, men are oppressed as well. That's the argument. Both men and women are oppressed and throughout history have been oppressed, which is the case today. You know what I mean? I made the example talking about family court. I can sit here now and act like a victim. It's like I'm oppressed and and I can make a very strong case, you know what I mean, to back up that point. But there are women out there who could do the exact same thing. So what Brian is saying, I agree with. We're all oppressed to a certain extent, especially if you're in the bottom 99. Like and there's just, you know, like, so this whole patriarchy argument, I don't rock with it. I don't rock with it at all. We got Brother Nightish in the house. What's good, fam? Welcome. So we're gonna jump ahead a little bit to the next part, and then this next part, they're gonna get into voting and stuff like that. So again, she just kept going deeper and deeper, and they just kept, you know what I mean, just debunking her argument. And she, you know, at least she didn't threaten to run away, like, you know, at this part coming up. She didn't, you know, threaten to run away. But the other women began to get involved in this part of the conversation. So let's check it out.
because men were subject to military conscription.
Because women didn't want to vote either at some point. Because if they voted, then that means they have to be drafted too. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the reason, by the way, throughout the vast majority of human history, men didn't have the vote either. There was a small percentage of men who had power. The rest of the men were also oppressed alongside all of the women that were oppressed. It was like, you know, previously you had tyrants and kings and dictators. Men couldn't vote. This is like voting came around in, like, broadly speaking, in the 1900s, the late 1800s, 1900s, and now obviously, well, in 1920 is when women got the right to vote.
And he has a good point there. I mean, because this is where we're going to get into the whole selective service, military service, and all that. Now, on this platform, there are a lot of our day ones on this platform are former military, like Miss Globe Girl, served in the United States Navy. Like I always say, I was my favorite sailor, right? She served in the United States Navy. She's done deployments. Like she's gone down range with the Navy. When I was deployed back in 1991, Desert Storm, in my unit, there were female soldiers. Right there. We're all down range, right there. The military will tell you, like, yeah, you know, there were rules that kept barred women from serving in combat units. You know what I mean? It couldn't be Rangers, you know what I mean? They couldn't be LERPs. They couldn't be, you know what I mean, infantrymen, you know what I mean, tankers. They had a whole field that's known as combat arms, which is the people who are out there on the front lines fighting. And there were rules, at least when I was in the military, that women couldn't serve in those frontline units. Now, those rules have been laxed. I think there's been some changes made. I'm not sure exactly, you know, how deep it goes. But even in my army, there were female helicopter pilots, truck drivers, mechanics. So they say, oh, you can't be in an infantry unit, but you can be in a unit that directly supports an infantry unit, which means if the infantry unit has gone down range, you're going down range with them. So it's the same thing. You're there. So, and they start making this point in this conversation here. Like if women really want true equality, there it is. Registering with selective service, being eligible for the draft, having to go defend your country should be the cost for voting. And he's right about that. He was like, the way we understand voting today, like, yeah, he's right. I mean, you can go back. The historians will tell you, like, the Greeks had a democracy and they would do votes and they counted each vote and they would have like these two big bins. And if you wanted to vote yes, you put a white rock in one bin. If you wanted to vote no, you put a black rock in the other bin or something like that. And they would go in there and count all the rocks. Democracy. And then things kind of folded into republics and stuff like that. Because here in America, we really have a republic. So, but he's going to make some really good points here. Oh, shoot. We got brother Dorkhead's in the house. What's good, fam? Pleasure to see you, man. You sure they are biologically female, bro? Just saying, man, it's so confused, bro. Listen, I don't know anymore, man. This whole pronouns and identifying with and all that, it's gotten way crazy, bro. It's gotten way crazy. But even it doesn't matter. If you are a human grown up, if you're over 18 years old, you should have to register with selective service. Period. That's it. If you want to vote. Now, if you don't want to do that, you don't want to go fight, you don't want to go serve your country, fine. You can't vote. Man, woman, other, whatever, can't vote. You know what I mean? And good to see the Fresh and Fit fam in the house, man. I really appreciate y'all, man. I really do. So let's continue on.
So this voting thing's democracy is very new. Most people never had the right to vote. The way men had the right to vote was because of warfare. Because men could be drafted and sent to fucking the Maginot Line in France and go in the trenches and get trench foot and get chemical gassed. And to this day, women were able to secure the vote without the corresponding responsibility. Women have a right without a responsibility. Men have a right with a responsibility. That responsibility is you have to die for your country.
And that's real talk. And that's where I sit with it. When people talk to me, I'm like, hey man, you do what you want. Be who you want to be, identify as you want to identify. But I would take it a step further. I would make it a requirement that everyone in the United States would have to serve in the military, just like they do in Israel. You don't have this conversation in Israel. You could be sitting on a line somewhere, sitting right there with a beautiful Israeli soldier. Right now, I have talked to friends of mine who've served in the IDF, and they tell me like, well, it's not as many women in frontline units as you would think, but there is no front line when you're dealing with a situation like the Israelis have to deal with. They're surrounded by enemies. You know, it doesn't matter where you sitting. When the bombs start falling, you could be in the rear with the gear, or you could be forward. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And then when people jump up and they start firing their weapons at you, just because some attack happens somewhere, it gets hot wherever you sitting. You could be sitting in the office. You grab your weapon and you go do what you were trained to do. So I'm done with the whole we're women and we don't want to go to war. I don't care. Do you vote? All right, then fill out this form, right? And if when the time comes for us to go do battle with whoever we got to do battle with, we gonna pull your name. You're gonna get your draft number called. And you're gonna come on down here and you're gonna enlist. You're gonna serve with the Army, Navy, Air Force, or Marine Corps. Maybe the Coast Guard if you're lucky. I don't know how they do that. Last good man in Jersey's in the house. What's good, fam? Just over here having this conversation. Should women have to register with Selective services? I say yes. I wonder how y'all feel in the chat, man. Should women have to register with Selective service? If a draft is enacted, should women be drafted into the United States military? I mean, think about what was going on in World War II with the Blitz when the Third Reich, when Hitler's army was sitting there in France, waiting across the channel to invade Great Britain. Right? When the bombs were falling on London and all these towns and villages, were the women somehow exempt from the dangers? No, they had to do what they had to do. The women were signing up for the military as well. They were serving in the RAF. They were serving in, the Army. I'm not sure if they served in the Navy as much, but even if they were in the Navy, they were doing other things. Right? They were in the RAF, but they weren't fighting. They weren't flying combat missions, which they could. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with that. So this is a new wave. And this is what I mean about feminism. Feminism can really, you can really make that argument that it's about female superiority, not equality. Let's be equal here. And if you were a true feminist, in my opinion, you should be up in arms. Like, nah, I'm going to go out here and vote. I want to register for the draft as well. I want to register with Selective Service. I want to serve my country. You know what I mean? And yep, last good man in Jersey. Yep, I was just gonna say that, man. You beat me to it. Starship Troopers, the book, not the movie. Yep, covered this exact topic. Service as a requirement to vote. Yes, he's absolutely right. I was gonna bring it up. To be a true citizen in that world, in the book, Starship Troopers, you had to serve. And once you finish your enlistment, your time, you were a true citizen and you can vote. You didn't have to serve, and there were people who didn't. I'm gonna have to read the book. I never read the book. I know they touched on it on a couple of some of the movies they've done, because they've done a bunch of movies on Starship Trooper at this point. I think I'm gonna get that book. I'll probably get it towards the end of the year. Because my required reading list has gotten so big, I have to slow down a little bit, catch up on these other books. But I work with a buddy at Van Nuys Airport, a fellow air traffic controller. He was a huge fan of Starship Troopers, and he would talk about it all the time. He gave me so many details about that story from the books, and I definitely want to read it. Halo's a good book. If you want to go out there and read it, for you gamer guys out there, that's a really good book. Like The Fall of Reach, and I got a couple of them downstairs. The Fall of Reach was the first one I read. There's one about orbital drop, ODST, the orbital drop shock troops. There's so many good books out there, man. But anyway, let's continue. Miss AKA lady, I heard certain positions as less productive when women are performing the job because of body composition. Not sure if that's true or not, but I heard it on the internet. Yeah, here's the thing with that. it's when you talk about combat and stuff like that, if it comes down to hand, yeah, women are definitely at a disadvantage. You know, if you go into a situation where you got to go hand to hand, you got to fight a man, it's tough. Um, even like Myron Gaines. Myron Gaines, like, look, if you want to be a ranger and you're a woman, fine, but it's just one standard. You have to pass the same rigorous standard that the men have to pass. And I'm telling you, becoming a ranger, getting a scroll, going through that, you got to be tough. It's hard. Like going to Green Beret. You want to be a Green Beret, like you got to be physically, top of your game. So yeah, if you can pass that, I don't care what gender you are, go ahead. But that puts you at a disadvantage. If you get into a hand-to-hand situation as a female, you more likely you're at a disadvantage. But snipers. Russia was known during World War II for its female snipers. One of them was known as the Angel of Death, I think. I forget the amount of kills she had. She had some ungodly amount of kills. Sniper. There was during, again, World War II, Russia had female fighter pilots, and there was one who may have been an ace. She might have gotten her 5th kill. The bad thing is, when she got her 5th kill, she was shot down. Soon after, while she was still out flying around, she got shot down soon after, and they never recovered her, so she was lost. But she might have gotten 5 kills, so she was an ace. So, when there are other things that women can do. You sit here and say, well, women can't serve because of this, that, and the third. Our weapon systems now don't require a lot of brute strength. You can be in the military and fly drones. You'll be sitting in some room in Arizona or Nevada somewhere flying a drone on the other side of the world. You don't need to be strong for that. You can release weapons, and all that stuff. You don't need to be strong for that. So no, I don't buy that. And when we say serve your country, we're not saying you have to be out front and be a trigger puller. Right? For every frontline soldier, for every combat arms guy, for every trigger puller, there are 5 soldiers that has to support that one soldier. You could be one of the 5. You could be one of the 5. You could be a crew chief. You could be a truck driver. You can handle fuel. There's tons of things you could do to serve your country. You don't have to go be a grunt, right? And a grunt is a term used for, the guys who are out there actually shooting. They were 11 Bravo when I was infantry. The infantry guys, we call them grunts. So no, you can get out there and get some. And I'm simply saying, like the last good man in Jersey was just saying, if you want to be able to vote in this country and you want the rights and the privileges that comes with that, well, there's a responsibility that comes with that as well. You got to serve. And if you don't want to serve, fine. Y'all know I talk about this all the time. I don't think we should. Here's the thing. The law of the land in this country should be, if you haven't served in the United States military, you can't be president of the United States. I've said that 100 times and I'll say it 100 times more. If you haven't served in the United States military, you cannot be the commander in chief of the said military, period. Does that mean, so if you plan on being president one day, you better enlist? That's what I would do. That would definitely be on the books. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. Men and women, period. Now, I would say, all right, I would like to see everybody join the military, but okay, whatever, we ain't gonna do that. But if you want to be president, you have to have served in the military. So if president is a former is a veteran, and something happens to the president and the vice president is not a veteran, then we would have to go down the chain of succession until we find another veteran. That's how I would do it. Like, okay, the vice president can hold the office just for temporary until we can find someone, and we go down to the Speaker of the House and then the Speaker pro tem, and then we go all the way. We keep going down until we hit the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff. That person is definitely going to be a veteran, right? So that's what I would do. We would go down in succession until we found a veteran that can be the next president. I mean, I take it serious. I mean, who are you to sit back in America and enjoy this freedom, and you don't even know what it takes to keep this freedom? So no, I think women should have to register for the draft. I'm curious, Ms. Globe Girl, what do you think about that if she's still here? Miss AKA Lady, what you think about that? I think you would have made a good soldier, Miss AKA Lady. We would have squared you away. Brother Dorkhead, is a BJ a selective service? Because I think most women are already signed up. You wilding, dorkhead. You wild. You are wilding. Codens King, maybe we need a new class of people, those who are willing to fight and be drafted, get extra rights and privileges versus those unwilling to fight for their home. Well, I mean, like here in America, bro, like if you don't register with selective services, you lose a lot of like it's against the law. It's a felony. And Brian's gonna talk about it. We're gonna play it in a second. And everything he says about it is true. And Dorcat, I think you should only allow women in frontline combat roles when they are PMSing. Boy, you wilding. You wilding. You know what I mean? It is what it is, man. Miss AKA lady, I don't see the harm in enlisting. It sounds like another day job most of the time. It is most of the time. It is a normal day job. Like you could be a clerical specialist or whatever, or you can be a dental hygienist or whatever. But if you're in the military, they might move your work site to some combat zone. You might be working in like a mobile army surgical hospital, or you might be working at an aid station if you're in the medical field, or if you're a truck driver, you might be fixing trucks for the 101st Airborne Division. You know what I mean? So is that it's a day, it's a day in the office, but the office might move to a combat zone. You know what I mean? And here's the thing: a lot of Americans are used to gunplay anyway, depending on where they're from. It's a lot more Americans who are used to that sort of thing. So people are like, I don't know, it's dangerous. Like, bro, just walking around the streets is dangerous. Last good man in Jersey. If you read SST, you will do a follow-up episode on how that impacts your overall view. SST, okay. All right, I'll check it out, bro. I'll definitely check it out. So let's get back to the conversation over here on whatever podcast. On this particular podcast, when people super chat in donations, they have a program that automatically reads it. So I ain't gonna lie to you, I don't like that because it messes up the flow of the show. They got to stop because the thing is just gonna read it. So they have to stop, listen to whatever the super chat is, and then they get back to the conversation.
$50.
Thank you, man.
It's crazy when we don't do this. This is not a debate. She uses words that she doesn't know the definition of oppression.
Yo, Dexter, thank you for the $50 super chat. So just to wrap this whole thing up, when it comes to voting, basically men to this day are subject to military conscription. I have this here. You want to talk about systematic oppression. I don't know if you've heard of the selective service system. So I don't know if you can read this. Men 18 to 25 years old. Sorry, I need to eat. My hands are fucking shaking. So this is a draft.
His hands are shaking because he got mad. He was mad at little shorty. He wanted to Frank Castle her, but he's this is the nice platform. You know what I mean? That's why his hands are shaking. But he's holding a selective service document, which that's the registration form. Again, when you're 18, you have to do that, submit it, boom.
Ignore the bright colors. If you open this up, here, take a look at that. Here, take it. Take it. This is a draft registration form. It says 18 to 25-year-old men. Only men are subject to military conscription. That's why men got the right to vote before women.
I think still to this day, women don't want to be drafted.
Well, they do, and they can't.
And they can't.
They can't.
And so they're fine with that. You don't see any women pushing back saying, I want to be drafted.
Exactly. Nobody wants to be drafted.
Yeah, but if women were oppressed, they would be doing that.
No, because the
Equality,
reason
right?
why women aren't drafted or put on the front line is because women aren't seen as intimidating to the enemy, like they're putting men because men are stronger, biologically they don't want.
Like even this part here, she's saying it kind of with a lot of contempt. You know what I mean? Simply because you're a guy who got drafted doesn't mean you're going to the front lines. I know a lot of guys who served in Vietnam, they got drafted, right? They got sent to Vietnam. They were in Saigon somewhere, chilling, eating steak every night, getting drunk, going into the Ville, you know what I mean, and having a good old time, finding all kind of Foxy Brown, right? The guy next to him who got drafted from, the next block over, got drafted, wound up in Vietnam, and he was in the A Shao Valley the whole time. Dude might have been in combat you know what I mean, 6 out of 12 months, 7 out of 12 months, he was downrange. So it doesn't guarantee you going to combat. It just means you're serving your country. You're gonna go wherever your country tells you to go. I know people who, instead of getting drafted, enlisted. My father enlisted, and his twin brother enlisted. My father went to Germany, and my uncle went to Vietnam. It was what it was, and they enlisted. They weren't drafted. So it just, there is plenty of space for women to serve their country. Like I said, look at what's going on in Israel. There's plenty of room for women to serve their country. The fact that they're not out here fighting and demanding that they get treated the same as the men, I want equality. The fact that they're not doing that, it hurts the whole argument. Oh, you equal to me? No, you're not. Oh, you a boss, babe? What unit were you in? Oh, I ain't joined. Well, then you ain't equal to me. Not just you, the dude next to you. He didn't serve either. Y'all ain't equal to me. That's how I look at it. If you really want equality, y'all should be out there fighting. Where the pitchforks and torches? Y'all should be out there demanding that you guys get to register for the draft. Period. Right. And Brother Cody's right. She even refused to look at it. Right. Miss AKA sounds like she's caught up in her emotions and she's having trouble thinking through her ideas. But I'm not sure she is prepared for her ideas to be challenged. However, most people aren't. Even when I talk to young men, they're not prepared for pushback. And that's one of the things with the new Templars, right? That's right. I'm plugging our new organization. With the new Templars, that's something that we focus on. When we come together, we have our monthly meetings and someone begins to push back or someone to say something that's contrary to what everyone else is saying. And then they just sit down like, no, it's cool. No, I want to hear what you have to say. Finish your statement. Be a man. Okay. And they say what they got to say. All right, that's a good point. Or I might be like, man, that's stupid. But stand up and say it. It's out there now. You might get clowned, but that's part of it. But guess what? You're going to learn. You're going to learn. Ladies, if you want to be men, that's what we do. At least that's what I was taught to do. These males are out here now. It's a little different. I mean, if you want to be equal, come on in. I'm with that. And I agree with you, Miss AKA lady. She's not prepared. All she has are talking points. She didn't think it through. She didn't put it through the old think tank. She just going out here with her talking points. Just like my daughter was out there with her talking points, saying she didn't want to choose a gender. Like, you don't get to choose one. You're born with the gender. I'm a piece of cheese. All right, but you're a girl piece of cheese. My daughter didn't think it through. But we got past that. And now she has a boyfriend. And if y'all see some little random boy on y'all milk carton, I didn't do it. But it is what it is. Miss AKA lady, you got to be open to being either wrong or right. But if you're thoughtful, you rarely look dumb. Absolutely. Absolutely. Brother Cody is like, yeah, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. If it's a little boy go missing in Central Florida, it wasn't me. All you got to do is ask Brother Cody. Me and him was having drinks at the time of the incident. I didn't say it was an incident. Pretty sure it was something. And at that time, I was with Brother Cody just asking. We was having drinks. You know what I mean? Chasing down some 304s. That's what we was doing. Look at Miss AKA, damn right. Get a boyfriend so dad can run him off. That's right. But actually, we're real playful about it. I like to talk to my daughter about what's going on in her life. And you know what I mean? And when she said she had a boyfriend, we sit down, we talk about it. Like, well, what does that mean? What do boyfriends and girlfriends do? Tell me. What does that mean? And I keep that dialogue open. So so what are you expecting from your boyfriend? Well, if you're in danger, you expect your boyfriend to come help you, or you expect me to come help you? And then like she has to sit down and she thinks about it. Like, you ain't got to answer now. I just want you to think about it. And she thinks about it. So then I tell her, well, this is what normally happens. This is the process. And yeah, we talked about the sex part too, y'all. I ain't trying to have my daughter have no kids, right? Out of wedlock. Now ask my daughter, do you want to be married? These are the things I'm doing as a father. I know it's a quick tangent, but this is what I'm doing as a father. Oh, you got a boyfriend? All right, cool. You know what I mean? Can't wait till you get over here. You know, I probably had that boy hanging upside down by his feet from this loft. You can hang there for a little bit, cuz once you figure it out. Figure it out there, Airborne. I figure it out. I'm definitely gonna put him through the gauntlet. You won't be with my baby. You know what I'm saying? And that's what, yes, everybody needs a Cody as king on their team. You know, you need a dude who's gonna be like, bro, I got you. That's what you need. Yeah, what? When people show up, hey, D.L. Saint said on this date at this time, you guys were having drinks over there in Madrid, Spain. Yep, that's where we were. That's what you need, player. That's what you need. That's my guy. Miss AKA lady, that's good. I want to hear more about fathers with daughters. That's a good perspective that doesn't get that much shine. All right, you got it. I'll put it on the board. I'll do my philosophy on parenting, a male perspective, something like that. You got it. It's coming up. I still owe Sister Candace a show on Rollo Tomasi and being on Dr. Phil. Brother Cody, man, do me a favor, or any of the Fresh and Fit guys, man, do me a favor, fellas. Can somebody send me a good link on that Rollo Tomasi Dr. Phil thing? If you guys are on the Fresh and Fit Patreon, I'm in there. Do me a favor, y'all. Send me that link, a good link for videos, so I can break that down, because I owe Sister Candace that. She said she wanted to see it, and I haven't done it yet. I haven't found any videos that I thought was cool. So, but yeah, hit me up, fellas. Let me know. Let's get back to this.
Want women there for a reason.
Sure. Well, you're okay. You're not
You're not
totally wrong. Yes, men, generally speaking, are more suited for warfare.
Yeah.
Men are. It's a biological reality. Men are physically stronger than women. Now, I mean, in today's modern warfare, physical strength is still a factor, but you know, I mean, the way we conduct warfare now is very different. So women can participate much more to some degree in combat roles. It's still, I mean, in any case, we don't need to get into the whole military thing, but
I would say
the difference is, if we're talking about equality, though, disregard, well, maybe men make better soldiers. Let's say an 18-year-old man who doesn't want to go to war, doesn't want to go get sent. Take Ukraine, for example. All the women could leave the country. All the men had to stay. You could not leave the country. You cannot leave Ukraine if you were a man between the ages of 18 and like 60 or 65.
And he ain't lying about that. And when he says, if you were a man in Ukraine, when the ball went up, right, when the Russians invaded, if you were a man, not a Ukrainian man, if you were a man, they weren't letting you out the country. Even foreign nationals, you had to fight to get out of the country. They were keeping all men of fighting age. Oh, you over here for our school? That means you over here to fight. Here's your AK. Boys should be coming over that hill any minute now. Get ready. That's what they did. All the women left. All the men put them on trains. They were kissing each other goodbye. They were crying. It was very emotional. All the women left. There were men, there are legions of foreign-born men who are currently fighting in Ukraine, fighting the Russians, Americans, men from UK, men from Canada, from all other places around the world. Foreign legion soldiers, not French foreign legion, but men of foreign origin have come together to make fighting units or in Ukraine fighting. Where are the female legions? Where are all these feminists from America, from Australia, New Zealand, right? From Germany, Great Britain, Spain? Where are they? When it gets crazy, right? When the defecation hits the oscillator, when that happens, people tend to revert back to the normal state of things. They go back to their gender roles. You can see it right there, 1080p, when it went down in Ukraine. Women left. They kicking it. Like old boy Brian's about to say, like, man, it's mad Ukrainian women hitting me up on dating apps. They out there doing whatever they doing. Meanwhile, the men are fighting. And the thing that gets me in Ukraine, man, they're doing a version of trench warfare. I've never seen that in modern war. That's crazy what they're doing. But they're out there fighting. It's vicious out there. This is what I mean. You know what I mean? Brother Scam Likely. Why are men worried about competing with women? I don't even think it's a competition, bro. And it's not the men, it's the women. Women want to be equal to this whole thing with we want to be equal, we want this, we want that. All right, fine, let them have it. Let's compete. The men are cool with competing. I don't think dudes have a problem competing with women. In fact, you look at what's going on with the whole trans thing, right? You got, all these, like you look at the WNBA, right? You look at female sports, volleyball, whatever, weightlifting. There are men. There are biological men who have transitioned and they're moving into female sports and they're taking all the records away from women. Again, I don't have a problem if you want to do that. You know what I mean? We got men, we got women, we got other, right? If you want to do that, that's fine. But if you are a person who was born a man, you should not be allowed to compete with women who were born women. It's just not fair. No, there should be, okay, we're going to do a special category for men who have transitioned to women. Now y'all can have y'all records over here. Right. And then we're going to have a category for women who have transitioned to men. There's no way that a woman who, a naturally born woman can compete with a naturally born man. It can't be done. I mean, she can compete, but she's going to lose. You know what I mean? So that's just one of those things. It's like, bro, you know what I mean? Nah, and it's women are claiming that they're competing with men, but it's not a competition. It's like the women who go around and say, well, I'm a boss, babe. I'm independent. You're independent, but you're getting all this government assistance. You're getting child support or alimony or both. You know what I mean? You're getting help for school. You're getting tax credits. You're getting discounts on where you live. You got all this stuff. There was a Instagram that someone put that out there. Man, it was a list of like 20 things. They listed them like each thing that women are entitled to in this country that men are not. And it's like, all right, do away with all that. Like, I'm a single dad. I take care of my daughter. I don't get child support. Right. But there's another situation I'm involved with where I'm putting out all kind of money. It doesn't make sense. So you got people who receive this money and they sit around here talking about I'm independent, I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, nah, man, hush. You winning the game. You know what I'm saying? Again, I don't hate the players. I hate the game. You winning the game right now. You winning. You up. You know what I mean? But you're not independent. Nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. In fact, some people might say that you're not even a good person because we live in a country where we monetize children. So you got people out there who just want the money. And they have no problem keeping their child away from the biological other parent and the other family because they know they keep the more that they keep their child away from that other parent, the more money they get under this system. It's horrible. It's horrible. So now, man, I don't think it's, men worried about competing. If it comes down to a competition, that dudes ain't worried about. You know what I mean? I've been on the basketball court as a young man. I don't know, I was 13, 14 years old, and I got spanked by our star female basketball player. She beat me down. But I wasn't a basketball player, I was a football player. You know what I mean? Same thing. Got a really athletic woman wanted to get on the football field with me. She, you know what I mean? Like, we gonna play. She wanted to play some football. She got beat up. she got devastated. She couldn't compete. But she could play the other girls and no problem. She was devastating all the women. But she couldn't handle us dudes. You know what I mean? But again, it's one of those things, bro. Like, it's just hard. If there's a female out there who can beat LeBron James one-on-one, you know how much money she can get right now? Just that one-on-one. She can beat LeBron James for real. She'll be paid. She'll be paid. If she's that good, she'll get into the NBA. There are no rules that keeps women from playing in the NBA. None. No rules whatsoever. but the men can't play in the WNBA. How's that a fair field? That's all I'm saying, bro. I see all this stuff. You know what I mean? What up, bro? Looks like What We Know podcast in the house, man. I might be JT, African King, and you have not heard any man complaining. Nah, America already has equality of outcome. That's what they're doing, man. Trying to make it 100. That's definitely it right there. Sister Ross is in the house. What's good, love? The laws need to change, which means we have to vote for legislators who will change them and judges who are willing to be fair. Right. That's why that leads into, that's one of the things. Hey, one of the things we have with the New Templars, the group that we've started here in Tampa, you have to be a registered voter. You know, doesn't matter what party you're affiliated with. We don't care. You could be independent. You could be Republican, Democrat. It does not matter. But you must be a registered voter in order to be a part of our organization. You must. And we're going to put a lot of pressure on you to go out and vote. We're going to do voter registration drives. We're going to go out here and we're going to help when it comes to voting and help people get, understand where their polling places are. We're going to get educated, and we're going to educate as many people as we can about the system. We're going to encourage people not to just vote in the national, every 4 years in the national election for president. You need to vote every time there's something coming for you. You need to be voting for your judges in your towns and your counties and stuff like that. The state is what governs what you're doing in your city. You should be voting for your mayors. You know what I mean? All that good stuff. This is the problem. A lot of guys sit back and don't understand how it works. It's these rules, these systems we have were put in place by people that we elect to office. Get them out of office. It's just that simple. Get them out of office. Miss AKA lady, yeah, the WNBA will pay her a smooth $65K a year. Nah, not in the NBA. If there's a woman out there who can go one-on-one with LeBron James and beat him 1 out of 5 times, that means she's good enough to play in the NBA, and she's going to get the league minimum. If she's good enough to play in the NBA, she's going to make a whole lot more than $65,000 a year. She's going to get the league minimum. It's hard to do that. It's only the best in the NBA. And there's no rules to say women can't play in the NBA. They just can't compete. And the WNBA, they're talking about, the women in WNBA don't make any money. They don't make any money because the league doesn't make any money. The league is subsidized by the guys. Y'all seen it? If you ain't seen it, Bill Burr has a great bit on that. You know what I mean? Live at Rare Rocks. Check it out. Women don't support the WNBA. They just don't. That's why they're not making any kind of money. Right? Women are supporting Kim Kardashian and the housewives of whatever city, and you know what I mean, like Married at First Sight. Women are watching that. They're not watching the WNBA. They're not watching. Right? The title game in NCAA basketball for the women was Iowa and LSU, and LSU won, right? No one's talking about the game. They're talking about the drama after the game. They're talking about this. They're talking about this. And they're talking about the first lady who's like, we should invite both teams to the White House. No, Iowa lost. And Iowa will tell you, we ain't trying to go to the White House. We lost that game. If the WNBA, if the league was making money, then the players would be getting that money. So they're sitting around like, I want to make $500 million like LeBron. You ain't bringing in the crowd like LeBron. So you ain't going to get that kind of money. If the NBA did not subsidize the WNBA, the league would not exist. I mean, it is what it is. Again, equality of outcome. Sorry, you're not going to have, no one cares. I can't name 5 NBA teams, WNBA teams. There's the Sparks and the Liberty. That's it. There's only 2 I can name. I only know one player, Brittany Griner. Brittany, yeah, because I always confuse her with the other Brittany. I only know one player, and I know her because she can dunk. And Sister Roger's like, yeah, reference child support, etc. Yeah, I ain't mad at you. JT, you know me, the one and only JT. What's good, bro? I'm definitely gonna try to drop the link here in a minute because I want to get y'all, see who wants to jump up here. And again, if anyone jumps up on the panel, YouTube is going crazy on curse words. If you say too many, they demonetize you or they limit your monetization. It is what it is. So we try to, we are trying to clean up the language, but hey, it is what it is. We do what we can, but if we can't clean it up, we can't clean it up. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Miss AKA lady, I believe a woman needs to lace her own pockets some way, somehow. It's a way to protect herself. You got to keep it quiet, though. Don't flash the cash, stack it, and stay humble. Nothing is guaranteed. Yeah. But when it comes to like the sports, like soccer and pro soccer and pro basketball and stuff like that, I mean, people aren't coming. The crowds aren't coming. There is a professional, full contact women football league out there. Tampa has a team, right? I mean, they're out there, they're playing, and they're trying to build up their league. You know what I mean? They play at one of the local high school fields, and these are grown women playing full contact football. I watched some of it. The field is real close to where I stay. This season, I'm gonna try to go and watch a couple of games. It's kind of like watching a middle school football game. It's grown women out there playing. Sometimes you see some pretty good football, you know what I mean? But it's not the NFL, right? It's not even like boys middle school. Certainly not like boys high school. They can't compete. But it would be nice to see them, get a crowd. And the team here in Tampa, you know what I mean? They're getting a follow. And I see some of the bumper stickers. And I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the team. Their uniforms are black though. They're trying to make it happen. They're trying to build a league just like the guys who built the NFL way back in the day. Those dudes weren't getting paid like that. Those dudes, they go play on Sunday and they'd be at work on Monday, bro. Working at the bakery or working at the butcher shop or something like that. That's what these women are doing. They're coming out here. They're athletes. They're out here doing their thing. And, so I'm definitely going to go check them out and try to support them. Because, they're not sitting there crying saying they need to be paid like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They just happen to be out there competing. Right? But they're at a high school stadium. They can't fill one half of the field, like, the bleachers. So they got to build up. They got to build up their audience. They got to build up their fan base. You can catch their games on YouTube, though. Not just them, like the whole league. Check it out. Female football league, professional football league, y'all. Check it out. You know what I mean? So that's the reason they're not getting paid, y'all. It's not that, you know what I mean? There's some sort of like men make more money. Nah, it's not that. No one's watching. No one's watching. But you want to sit back and say, well, I want to get, multi-million-dollar deals. How are we going to pay you that money? We're not making that money. Well, I want a $500 million Nike deal. Why is Nike going to give you a $500 million when no one knows who you are? They don't even know the team you play for. I mean, if that's the case, Nike should give me a $500 million. You know what I mean? At least I'm monetized on YouTube. You know what I mean? Most of them are, at least I'm trying. Come on now. That's the thing that they don't want to hear. People don't want to hear that. You can't be guaranteed, equality of outcome. Outcome depends on how much work you put into it. Period. I ain't sitting here crying because, beautiful women can come on and set up a YouTube channel, get monetized in a month. And then within 6 months, they're making $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month on their YouTube. I can't get mad at that because that is what people are watching. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit back and say that's unfair. Nah, I'm going to sit there and try to collab. You know what I mean? Like, what's up, shorty? I'm going to sit there and try to get me a dime sitting next to me because that's how the game works. And I'm just going to play the game. So that's the thing. Miss AKA Lady Grandma says you got to know how to cook clean, keep your eyes open, and stash cash. Hey, that's good advice. Grandma knows what she's talking about. Grandma ain't tripping. So let's see. Let's watch a little bit more. Did I pass? I think I might have passed. We're going to watch a little bit more of the video. Then we're going to open up. I'm going to drop the link. Let's check this out.
While all the women in Ukraine, actually, I matched with some girls on Tinder, like when the was heaviest in Ukraine, when Kiev was getting scorched up. I was matching with chicks on Tinder and Hinge and shit. If you're a Ukrainian woman, you get to go to Stockholm, you get to go to Great Britain, you get to continue your hot girl summer. You know what the Ukrainian men were doing? Getting fucking massacred. So let's talk about privilege.
And that's real talk. Early on in that conflict, man, especially like Mariupol and all that, Russia was kicking Ukraine's teeth in. That was before America was sending them arms and tech and like, support. You know what I mean? Before they were sending advisors, you know what I mean? Before they got all that support, before they got use of our military tech and all that technology. I'm talking about the satellites and all that. Russia can't make a move without America seeing it. But at first, Russia was kicking their teeth in. But the Ukrainians were able to rally and at least hold them. Hold them. They were able to hold on long enough for the rest of the world to decide to do something. America. And then once America decided to help them out, and once they were able to train these people and get them some, foreign fighters and get them in there and get all the intel right, get them javelins and stuff like that, anti-tank weapons, anti-aircraft weapons. Once that happened, now we see what's going on. Ukraine is talking about going on the offensive. But yeah, I just had to throw that in there. Meanwhile, women are kicking it.
And who are the people making them go to war? Men.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I mean, the Ukrainian military brass or the president, they don't want to be in war. That was something that Russia instigated.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, but they.
In 1941, December 7th, 1941, a date that will live in infamy, right? Y'all have heard that over and over again. That was the day the Japanese Navy bombed Pearl Harbor. It was a sneak attack, right? It was a very, very brilliantly coordinated attack, and it was almost perfect. The only problem was the Japanese diplomats didn't get an opportunity to declare war at the time that they were supposed to. They had a plan, but they couldn't get in there to see the people, so it was a sneak attack. The original plan was these guys would have came in at a certain time, basically say, all right, we're at war with you guys, or whatever they were going to say, basically letting America know, like, we gunning for y'all. And then the attack would have happened a couple hours later. But history calls it the way it happened. It was a sneak attack, right? America did not ask for that to happen. America was isolationist. World War I, World War II, beginning of those two conflicts, isolationists. America didn't want no smoke with nobody. It was the Imperial Navy of Japan attacked America. The happiest man on the planet was Winston Churchill. Once that happened, he was like, "Oh, America's in the war. It's on," because the Germans were beating him. He was like on his last rope. So once that happened, Winston Churchill was like, "Cool, here come America." And he was right. America got involved in the war. America declared war on Japan. America declared war on Germany, and the rest is history. And by the way, that was the last time Congress declared war on anybody. Keep that in mind.
They have to defend their country.
Okay.
We live very, very privileged lives. Very privileged. If
Yeah, we
World War
do.
III, I'll tell you this. If World War III is around the corner, there's no feminists when Russia invades. There's no feminists when China invades. I'll tell you that.
Facts. In the 1940s, you had women who were doing their part for the military, but there was no feminists out there. Women weren't up in arms talking about send me to Iwo Jima, send me to Italy. That wasn't going on. But the women in France who were a part of the underground, the women in France who were the resistance fighting the Germans, that were getting caught up by German soldiers, by SS soldiers, getting caught by the Gestapo. They were being tortured and deleted in some of the most horrific ways possible. Right? They were equal. They were out there doing their thing, risking their lives every single day, fighting an enemy, fighting for their country while they were being oppressed. They were living in Vichy France. Vichy France was the puppet government that the Germans installed to run the territories that they owned in France, that they conquered in France. The French women were doing that. What's going on? We didn't have American women trying to run over there and getting, work with the French underground and the French resistance. We didn't have women trying to get on the ships and go over to Iwo Jima, Guadalcanal. They went over there trying to island hop. We ain't had women trying to get on board with the aircraft carriers and go out there and fight the battle of Midway. You know what I mean? We ain't had none of that. This is what I'm talking about. And what he said right there, when it goes down, when the defecation hits the oscillator, and the enemy is at the gates, there's no such. You ain't gonna find a feminist. I don't care how hard you look. You ain't gonna find one, bro. You ain't gonna find one. But women will step up to protect themselves and protect their families. Yes, they will. Yes, they will. But this is what I'm talking about right here.
Much.
Okay. Nobody wants to go to
But
war.
what I'm saying is that all these things that you often complain about, like when shit hits the fan.
And that's what I mean by defecation hitting the oscillator.
We revert to our traditional gender roles. You can't have feminism when there's a military conflict.
I would say y'all fought for equality for the longest time, and then society overcorrected. And now women have a little bit more privilege than men do. Because like the men are drafted first.
Now listen, women were
draft
absolutely,
still a thing?
hold on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Look-
We'll
I
never
thought they
war.
weren't.
Look in
I
front
thought-
of you.
No, I'm just asking, like genuinely asking, because I thought like the military was so big they didn't have to do drafts anymore.
When it comes to World War III, they're gonna have to draft.
There would be a
And and this isn't just her. Most Americans don't know anything, and most Americans don't think. She's sitting at the table, she's thinking. She's beyond the talking point. She's sitting there actually thinking, like, well, do we even have a draft? Yeah. Yes. There are Americans walking around today who were drafted during Vietnam. They can tell you all about it. Yes, we still have a draft. Yes. If things get bad, there will be a definite. We will mobilize this nation, and yes, it will be a draft. And I am wholeheartedly 100% behind women being drafted as well. That's just where I'm at. You know what I mean? Brother Cody is king. LOL. People may watch, but they don't listen. He's talking about female sports, I think. Miss AKA lady. Are the women really? Let me see. Are the women really live their best life? Being home while your husband/father father is in danger doesn't sound like cake. It's not. It's not. And then the reference I was talking about with World War II, the men weren't going to let their wives go off and fight in the Pacific or in Africa or in Europe. The men aren't going to sit back. Those men back then, it was the man's responsibility to go off and fight and protect his country. You know what I mean? It was the men who were responsible to go out there and fight tyranny. That's what they did. They didn't want their women there, right? But when Germany invaded Russia, Operation Barbarossa, they almost took Russia. They almost took Leningrad. They almost took Stalingrad. Women were fighting. Women were fighting and dying to protect their land. We have two oceans separating us from pretty much most problems. We got Canada to the north. We cool with Canada. We got Mexico to the south. You know what I mean? It is what it is down there. But we don't have to really worry about our borders like that. Times have changed, and the threat has changed, and we can't just let nobody in here now. We still got to do our due diligence, but we're not worried about a nation invading us. It's not going to happen. We got other problems, right? So American men went to fight to protect their families. They went to fight to protect everything they built and everything they had and everything they loved, everything they cared for. That's what they went to do. And you're right, Miss AKA. They didn't want, you know what I mean? And women aren't living their best lives if men are out, if their men are out, you know what I mean, in harm's way. You know what I mean? But again, we are so privileged in this country, we don't understand these things. Take it for granted. But we're due. We're due for a big conflict. You know what I mean? Casual Germs, Bangs is such an idiot. I mean, she just doesn't know, bro. She's sitting here now towards the end of this thing. She was actually sitting there thinking, trying to anyway. Miss AKA lady. Okay, she has a point. The last draft was in 73. Men tend to hang with their hats on. Men tend to hang their hats on events that may never happen or happens once in a lifetime. Example, getting drafted are home burglars. We haven't we haven't instituted a draft because there hasn't been a threat. There, because you look at prior to World War One, America's standing army was like horrible. It was like nowhere near the top 10 of the of other developed nations. We didn't really have one. But when it was time to get into World War II, mobilized, got drafted people, got the army up to speed, and off they went to war. Right, and then that war ended, and then the military fell off. Right, it went right back down to these really low levels. Right, and then 1941 happened. December 7, 1941, Japan attacks America. Boom, we mobilized, we draft. Everyone was stepping like that. 9/11. After 9/11, millions of men, millions of American men and women, I assume some, enlisted. I checked in. Yo, y'all need an old soldier? Like, nah, because I was still in active ready reserve at that time. They're like, nah, you good. We'll call you if we need you. There's always going to be that ebb and flow. You know what I mean? It's always going to be that thing. So America decided we need to keep our military readiness at a certain level. And that's what they've been doing ever since. You know what I mean? It was after Vietnam. So when it goes down, if something happens, if China and Taiwan get into it, trust and believe they're gonna institute the draft. Trust and believe. Right? If we get into a long, drawn out conflict, especially with another nation, there will be a declaration of war and there will be a draft. So, but I get what you're coming from. It's like, it's not something that happens all the time, but historically, it kind of happens on a regular basis if you look at it. It depends on what's going on with the world at that particular moment. So I'm kind of with you, but not really. And Miss AKA lady, is it really that big of a pressure if it may never happen in your lifetime? You know what I mean? It's like, we're kind of basing it on like, this may or may not happen. You understand right now, we're currently fighting Russia. Right? What we're doing to the Russians right now is what the Russians were doing to us during the Vietnam era. It's a proxy war. It's a proxy war that can escalate into the real deal, especially if China makes a move on Taiwan. So we're really close. Like, I mean, I don't think people really understand how close America is to all out conflict on two fronts. It's close. It's real close. I think the only thing that's slowing that down is China is maneuvering a different way and they're attacking the petrodollar and they're trying to, de-dollar the dollar. They're trying to devalue the US dollar. That's just a different way. That's just the Chinese way of fighting. I ain't mad at them. That's what they're doing right now. But at the end of the day, like, we are close to a shooting war. We're always close to a shooting war at any given moment. It's just here in America that we just doing our thing. It's all good until we wake up one day and something horrible happened. And next thing you know, America's in it. And if America gets in it, because we need more bodies, the first thing we're going to do, institute the draft. And they should be drafting women. So we're going to watch this last little bit. And then I'm going to drop the link if anybody wants to pop up. And we're going to go from there.
Draft.
In any war, there's draft.
Also, even if the likelihood, there hasn't been a draft in a long time, however, there are still men alive today that were drafted. Many of those men got sent to Korea, got sent to Vietnam. Those men came back with catastrophic post-traumatic stress disorder. They saw horrific things. I don't know why the fuck we were in Vietnam to begin with. That's a whole nother conversation. But
we were in Vietnam and what was going on in Vietnam, what we're doing to Russia and Ukraine is what Russia was doing to us in Vietnam. That's why we were in Vietnam, to stop communist aggression. That's why. That's history. We learned that in school. That's history. There are millions of very good documentaries out there to talk about why the Vietnam conflict happened. Same thing with Korea, right? Korea wasn't even a war. It was a police action. We went to Korea to stop communist aggression, went to Vietnam to stop communist aggression. All we were doing, there were proxy wars. America and Russia were fighting. And back then it was the USSR. The USSR and the USA were fighting, and that's all they did. And we struck back at Russia and Afghanistan, and we're striking back at them now in Ukraine. That's why, bro. That's why we went to war in Vietnam. That and the fact that we was gonna make some 1%ers very rich, because there's a such thing as the military industrial complex. It makes billions and billions and billions of dollars.
There are other, if you don't, as a man, if you don't register for the selective service, if you don't register for the draft, it's technically a felony. You can get fined $250,000. Also, if you don't register, you can't apply for federal student aid. You can't get like student loans or whatever. Also, you're barred from certain federal jobs if you don't register for the selective service as a man. There is no equivalent requirement for women to have to register, for example. So,
and we'll leave it there. And he's absolutely right. This women should be held to the same standard. And brother Dorcare, you're right. America, we are the world's police, and it is what it is. And that has more to do with making money and, showcasing our weaponry around the world. Getting involved in two conflicts takes countries' resources, money, and to put puppet presidents really a political agenda using military as disposable assets. Yes, and then you're right about the Gulf of Tonkin. Vietnam was started off by a USA false flag. Gulf of Tonkin, yeah, because the politicians wanted to get involved, and they definitely did that. But before that, there were already Green Berets, military advisors on the ground. America was already involved in the war deeply, and especially after Kennedy was assassinated. Johnson got in, and they just opened up the taps. That's when we went full go in Vietnam. But again, the powers that be, the White House and the generals, they were fighting communism. And they were like, whatever it takes to fight the communists. That's what they were doing. That's what they were doing. So is it wrong? Yeah, it was wrong. It was horrible. It's horrible. It was the loss of life. I mean, I'm talking about the Vietnamese, North and South, was horrific. You know what I mean? American loss of life was terrible. But like the Vietnamese, oh my God, that's just what it is. You know what I mean? Brother Franco is like, sheesh. Yeah, man. There's a lot out here. And this is why we need to understand our history. This is why we need to understand how the 1% works. This is how we need to understand these things, especially you young guys. This affects y'all. Right? When the next one comes, when the next war comes and they start drafting, they're not drafting me. They drafting y'all. Y'all gonna have to go deal with this. This is why you need to be on board. This is, this is why we have to be involved politically. If this is something you don't want to do, you got to make sure you get the right people. If John F. Kennedy were not assassinated in Texas, America wouldn't have gotten involved in the Vietnam War. You know what I mean? A little bit like a little bit of unknown history here. Ho Chi Minh was just the guy who was behind, he was like the leader of North Vietnam, and it goes all the way back actually to World War II, with Viet Minh were fighting the Japanese and stuff like that. It's really fascinating. But anyway, Ho Chi Minh was a fan of JFK. And it was this close. These two almost met. It was like this close. JFK didn't want to commit to Vietnam. And then once he was out of the way, the rest is history. The rest is history. This is why we need to understand history. We need to understand the game we're in, gentlemen and ladies. Understand the game that we're in. Right? There's a lot of you young guys out here talking about, Putin and Russia is good. America's never been cool with Russia, bro. General Patton wanted to attack the Russians in 1945. He's like, we got the army over here. We know they're a problem. Let's go deal with them right now. And then Patton wound up dying in a car accident not too long after that. Patton knew they were a problem, and we've been fighting this Cold War ever since. One day that war is going to heat up. And if it's not with Russia, it could be with China or both. So y'all really need to be paying attention. Russia has never been our friend. The average folks who just walking around doing their thing, living their life, those are cool people. But Putin and his cronies, look at what they're doing. Look at what they're doing, bro. So all these people talking about, W Putin, man, go learn your history first, man. Learn your history. Talking about W Putin and all this and W Xi Jinping, and then you're going to wind up getting drafted and I'm going to have to face these dudes. You're going to put you on the wrong end of an AK-47, bro. Like I said, don't hate the players, man. Hate the game. Change the game. You know what I mean? Brother Cody is king of press. I hope they aren't saying that, yeah, bro. And Brother Francisco, thank you. Please like the video, y'all. Please like the video. Yeah, and in Dorcade, Brother Dorcade is saying America has its own wars inside its borders. Instead of spending $900 billion on military industrial complex, they could clean up Chicago, New York, Detroit, East Palestine. Yep. East Palestine. That's horrible right there. And y'all notice how many train derailments are really going on right now? It's crazy, bro. It's crazy the way we're doing this stuff, man. So again, we got to get involved in the political process. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to. It's easy for us to sit back and point the finger and say this, that, and the third, but if we're not involved, if we're not voting, if we don't know who we're sending and off to represent us, that's on us, bro. That's on us. And trust me, there's money in it. You know what I mean? All this deregulation, it could be bad. We don't want to deregulate everything. We're gonna need some regulation. We're gonna need some. Like down here in Florida, they basically, constitutional carry. All right. Y'all know I'm a weapons dude. I always got weapons around me. As you see one over my shoulder, there's always one close to me. It's always have a holster too, y'all. Get holsters if y'all getting weapons. But not having to, get a concealed carry permit, just go get your pistol and put it in your pocket and just start walking around. I don't know about that, bro. That might be a problem. That might be a problem. You know what I mean? But hey, we'll see. We will see. You know what I mean? And Brother Cody saying almost seems intentional. Yeah. Definitely seems to be something going on. Something seems to be some sort of method to the madness. You know what I mean? I said I was going to drop this. I'm going to drop the link real quick, man. We got like 18 minutes or so. If anybody wants to pop up, man, let's do it. Let's do it, man. Come on up here and holler at Uncle Saint, man. Let me know what y'all got to say. And my thing is this, bro. Like and Dorcade is 100% correct. There's the link, y'all. Dorcade is 100% correct, y'all. Go out there and you know what I mean? See what he's saying. Go out there and look at your history. It's all right there. It's all right there. You know what I mean? Putin did not want to invade Ukraine, bro. I guess he wanted to stop the senseless killing of people in the Donbass region. Well, I added region, you just said Donbass. This has been going on for a long time when NATO started to input arsenals on Russian border. Now I don't agree with that, man. Putin wants to have the new Russian empire. Nah, bro, that Donbass and all that, nah, bro. No. Now, Putin definitely is worried about NATO being on his doorstep, as he should. This invasion of Ukraine, Putin has been wanting to, get Ukraine back for a couple reasons. It's more to do with territory than anything else. This is my opinion. You can look at the way he's been moving and what he has been doing, the Donbass and Crimea and all that kind of stuff, smoke and mirrors, my brother. And the problem is Putin didn't realize how corrupt his people are. He's got all these folks. He's had this plan. He's been putting money aside and getting his military ready for the better part of a decade. He wanted to do this. This was not some whatever. He knew exactly what he was doing. This was cold strategy, right? He knew what he was doing. What he didn't know was that his cronies were taking all his bread. He thought his military was ready. He really did. He thought his troops were trained and ready. He thought he had his tanks and his weapons and everybody was ready to go. He had his reserves. He really believed that, right? Because he'd been funneling money into his military because he knew he was going to invade this country. And in his mind, he's like, well, if everything checks out, it should take us a day or two to take Ukraine. And it should have just taken really an afternoon. Russia was supposed to be the second most powerful military on the planet. It was us, Russia, and China. or us, China and Russia, depending on what list you're looking at. But we're on top of every list, and then it was like China and Russia. I believe that Putin didn't understand how corrupt his people were. And once he got in there and he was unable to take Ukraine in an afternoon like he should have, just imagine if America wanted to take Mexico. How long will it take us to do it? How many hours? That's the equivalent, bro. But the Ukrainians were able to stop him long enough and delay that long enough to get help from the West. And now Putin's really in it. That's my take on it, bro. Right? Trust me. The first half of my adult life, I spent training to engage Russia and China. We have been briefed on all sorts of scenarios in Europe. So what happened is something I seen back in the 90s. We were briefed on this sort of thing. All right, this is how it's going to go down. We saw it back in the 90s. So, it makes sense what he did, but Putin's not your friend, bro. Here to tell you, man. Russia is not our friend. Now now he's got a problem, man. Now, his own folks going to turn on him. I don't know how Putin's going to get through this. I really don't. And if this Ukrainian offensive is successful, yeah, man, Putin's going to have to go somewhere. Maybe he can move to America. Because he's probably the wealthiest man on the planet. He has tons of bread. As corrupt as he is, I don't know why he didn't think that his people were corrupt. Everybody was taking that money. You know what I mean? And Dorkhead, Putin stepped in. That is like Mexico invading Texas and putting military in place. Mexico invading Texas. I mean, you can't even fathom something like that. Mexico invading America. I mean, okay, if Texas were its own nation, just with the military assets that are in the state of Texas now, let's say Texas was its own nation, its own sovereign nation. All the military bases in Texas are now belong to Texas, and Texas had the money to maintain those weapons and systems and stuff like that. Mexico wouldn't stand a chance. Just with the armor divisions there at Fort Hood alone, Mexico wouldn't stand a chance, bro. I mean, and see, that's the thing. Everyone believed that Russia had one of the strongest top 3 militaries on the planet. And now we see that they didn't. It was all smoke and mirrors. Most Russian equipment doesn't even work. Russia can't even maintain their equipment. They're hiding these super tanks. They won't even fly their, stealth fighters, air superiority aircraft. They won't even fly them. Right? We don't have a problem flying anything. We don't have a problem dropping off anything. There's probably stealth missions going on right now as we speak. Russia can't see our military, our Air Force. They can't see it. So this was the problem. Now no one cares. That's like seeing a big bully for the punk that they really are. If you like this big, you're supposed to be Mr. Hardcore, this and that. And some soy boy beats you down, like you go swinging on dude, and the soy boy's like, what? You know what I mean? And start swinging back. It's a wrap, bro. You're supposed to take care of that like that. And if you don't, ain't nobody looking at you the same. That's what's going on with Russia right now, man. Putin got some real problems. If this Ukrainian offensive is successful, Putin got some serious problems. Serious problems, bro. You know what I mean? So, and I appreciate it. I mean, Dorkhead, man, I appreciate it, man. There's the link, man. Pop up here, boy. We can keep this going. You know what I mean? Because it's nah. Russia ain't what it seems, bro. Remember, when you think you got it figured out, you're wrong. The world is not what you seem. The world is not what it seems. It's not. A lot of smoke and mirrors out there, bro. So, Brother Casual Germ, yeah, corruption in their conscription ranks runs deep. Yeah, and think about it. It's not even the Russians aren't even really fighting right now, bro. It's the private military, and it's, they're hiring people to fight for them, bro. The Russians are bringing mercenaries in, man. They brought in a bunch of Syrians. Syrians got towed up and they went home like, nah, this ain't enough money, bro. You know what I mean? So, and then Putin's guy that brought in his own private military force. You know what I mean? He's kind of like, I need more money. It's a problem, bro. It's a problem. Dorkhead, America implanted the actor President Zelensky where the Ukrainian election was rigged, hence why Russia found secret American chemical plants. I am not a fan of Putin either. You know what I mean? And you know what? I ain't gonna lie to you. That may well be. Right? Okay. America got Putin. I'm sorry, America got Zelensky in there, got the actor elected. Okay, maybe. But that has nothing to do with the quality of the military forces that the Russians had. That's nothing to do with Russia not being able to take that country in a couple of days. You know what I mean? Nothing to do at all. Oh, we got Brother Mandrill. Y'all want to hear the real? Here he is right here. Green Beret right here is a guy who hopefully he can talk about this because I know he's done missions all over the world. You know what I mean? Brother Mandrill, what's good, fam?
Yeah, I just get my stuff together here. I was running around and fumbling trying to get this thing set up so I can come on. But yeah, here's the thing: Russia, since the Cold War ended, Russia has never recovered from that. They are not the superpower that people thought they were. Clearly, they can't even handle Ukraine.
They can't handle. And
right.
Real quick, before you continue, let people know what you used to do.
I was in the 7th Special Forces Group. I was a weapons sergeant, 18 series. So 18,
what color was your beret?
Green.
Ooh, you wore a green beret. So y'all talking to right now, I just want y'all to know y'all talking to one of America's best, right? A real life Green Beret, a real G.I. Joe. Oh, so I just wanted to get that out there. So go ahead and continue, brother.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, my MOS is 18 Bravo. So there it is, U.S. Special Forces Green Beret. So I think about Mexico taking Texas. That was a coin flip, believe it or not.
You think so?
Believe it or not. Texas will put up a hell of a fight. And I mean a hell of a fight. It ain't going to be easy. It's not going to be. Mexico can take the entire forces of their whole country and come in Texas, and they probably won't win. I say probably because here's the thing with Texas. Well, here's the thing with American citizens. They'll buy all these guns. They'll be all amped up and ready to go until the fighting starts. Once the fighting starts, okay, everybody's good to go. They're going to be in the front. They're going to fight. Here's what I know to be an irrefutable fact, DL, is that once the dying starts, your little psycho fuck family over there is going to tear itself apart. Even people in the military, even people in the Army, Marines, they fall apart in warfare. And they're trained, and we're trained to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, but once the dying starts and people see what war really is, that's when you're going to be able to tell. Now, this is how I knew Ukraine was probably going to come out on top. I gave it a week. If Ukraine was still standing in a week, I said, okay, they got it. I never even watched anything else on it. Everyone, except for once in a blue moon, just to get an update every 3 weeks or so. But once Ukraine lasted a week against Russia, I said, oh, okay, cool, they got it. Then America stepped in to help. I said, oh, well, no problems then. You know, like I said, once the dying started, Ukraine didn't fold.
Right. And that shocked me. I was like, man, they held out way longer than I thought they would. And I'm like, man, yeah, it looks like they. And then once they got support from the United States, it was a wrap.
Yeah, it was a wrap then. Yeah. If they're strong enough to hold out for a week without help, I said, oh, and then when we got involved, I said, oh yeah, that's over then. You think so? Like, yeah. What are you talking about? We didn't just send them money. You think all we sent them was money? No. Yeah. Smart bombs, Stinger missiles. I mean, come on, Hellfire rockets. I mean, all kind of stuff we sent them over there. I said, the thing is, what you don't know is it was there before the war kicked off.
Yep.
We just didn't have any large personnel up there helping them.
Yeah, we had advisors.
Yeah, that's it. Liaisons. That's what it was. It was liaisons, DL.
Yeah, liaison. Okay. Yeah. All right. You know what I mean? Miss AKA lady, she got love for you, bro. He always been a fan of green. And brother Cody is king. Nah, man, Jill ex gigolo. They love you, bro.
I like I like your audience, man. I really do.
Man, my audience seems
It's
to
always
like you, man.
it's always fun over here, man.
It
And
is. Brother Dorkhead has another thing, though, I wanted to run by you.
mhm.
Putin at least called for peace, yet America Zelensky did not want it. It does not make money for the military-industrial complex and the political war hawks. The Bidens are involved with shady Ukraine. Okay.
What's
The
shady
last
about
part.
Ukraine? There's nothing
Well,
shady about Ukraine.
Well, let me throw this in here real quick.
Uh-huh.
The Bidens are involved. They're talking about his son. Yeah, there's money to be made, bro. They're gonna put their hands in it, man. There's another dude who didn't serve, but he's been in DC his whole life. He knows how it works, bro. They're gonna get the bread. I'm with you on that. You know what I mean? But as far as like Putin suing for peace, no, he wanted some time to recover. That was a tactic. I would have said, nah, you want peace, unconditional surrender, man. Get your people out of my country. That's what I would have said. Otherwise, I'm not giving him time. I'm not going to give you an opportunity to replace and replenish your soldiers and get some training done and come back over here and start fighting again. What's your take on all that, bro?
Absolutely. The Bidens, of course, like I'm with you. Of course, they're involved, and there's always money in warfare. It's a shame we can find money to kill people. We can't find money to heal people.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? There are no mandates on creating cures. Nothing. None of that. But anyway,
I'll put it back up. I think you're looking for the statement. There it is.
Yeah, the Bidens were involved. Yeah, there's nothing shady about Ukraine. See what you talk. I'm aware of what he's talking about, but that's big business. There's nothing shady about it. That's big business. That's what big business is. You don't like it? Hey, get out there and vote.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing I can tell you as far as curing that. I mean, other than that, there's nothing you can do about it.
Nothing you can do about it. And brother Dorkhead, man, I appreciate you playing. We're gonna get you up on here, fam. We're gonna get you up on this panel one of these days, man. Because I appreciate that. There are a lot of people who they get information, but they're not getting quite all of the information. And then when they get all the information, they don't have the real world knowledge to help you place it all together. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I see what Putin's doing. Does that mean America's like the angels, the good guys who wearing the white hats? Nah, we just as dirty, bro. You know what I mean? Trust me. I've been on a few missions, and Brother Mandrell's been on some missions he can't even tell you about. Listen, man, we just as dirty. But again, this is the game, man. I ain't hating any players. It's just I'm against Putin right now. That's not in my best interest as an American, especially as a former warrior. Nah. And then when he to me, like, he showed all his cards, bro. He got a losing hand. So I think Putin is not going to survive this. I'm not saying they're going to off him, but I think he's going to have to seek refuge somewhere else. Again, he's probably the richest man on the planet.
Yeah, because he's been, siphoning money off that country of his forever. And see, this is why communism doesn't work.
Yep.
All that money people are pouring into the pot, but it has to go somewhere. It's just not going to you. You know what I'm saying? It's just not going to the citizens. And there's nothing anyone can do about it because for the most part, all people want is for things to work out.
Yep.
They just want the machine to work. That's it. That's all they want. They don't want any trouble. They don't want to fight.
They don't.
They just want to move on with their lives.
Communism was fine until people couldn't get food.
There you go.
They didn't care about all this stuff. What do you mean I can't get my portion of chicken and beef? All right, we got a problem then. You know what I mean? So
there you go. And because they're not, even the citizens, they're not even asking for much.
Nope.
They just want to eat and raise their children, raise their families, raise their children, just like anybody else does.
Just like in those old movies, bro. They want to eat, drink, and be married. That's it.
That's it. It's the whole thing with that. Back in Rome, I forget which senator it was. There's a senator back in ancient Rome, and he was like, "Okay, this is just a bunch of bread and circuses." Like that's why you'll hear me say that from time to time. It's this whole thing with our government. It's just a bunch of bread and circuses. What do you mean by that, Mandrell? Well, in ancient Rome, what they would do is they pacify the citizenry with stale bread and cheap entertainment. That's where the gladiator arena came from. And they allow people to do plays and stuff like that and puppet shows in the streets just to keep them entertained and throw them some stale bread every now and again to give the appearance that they're looking out for the people. Here, I'm giving out free bread. I'm giving out free bread. Hey, yeah, go out there and watch the puppet show. Be merry. The gladiators are out there. The gladiators are going to be fighting this week. Yay, And people are so distracted. They're looking forward to these events. They're looking forward to the recreation. And then you throw out some cheap, stale bread. And then they're like, oh, man, he really cares about us. He's giving it to us for free. Boom. You got him. He comes out there and tells you exactly what you want to hear. And that's it. He's got you. He may not have you and I, but he's got the vast majority of the crowd in his ear.
Yeah, he got the masses.
Yeah, he's got the masses, and that's all he needs. Like the mayor of Montgomery, Alabama, he was caught on tape saying he doesn't need the black vote. All he needs is 32% of the white vote, and he got it.
That's fire right there.
I don't know how long I don't know if you've ever visited Montgomery, Alabama, DL. I don't know.
Bro, I don't know if that math works. Like, does that math even work? Like, bro,
here's the thing, though. Yeah, it does. But he knows that black people are going to vote for him anyway. That's why he was saying that. He's black. He's the first black mayor Montgomery, Alabama has ever had. Ever. He's only been in office like 2 or 3 years. That's right. In the 2000s, Montgomery, Alabama has had its first black mayor, male or female.
That's
so
insane.
You know, he knows he's going to have enough people to come out, black people to come out and vote for him to win that vote.
That's insane, man. So Casual German has something for you. Russian T-72 autoloaders pretty much was a freebie for Ukrainian anti-tank teams. The in-laws ripped them apart. So, brother Emmanuel, I want to get your comment on that, and then we'll roll right into your final thoughts. And the question is, should women have to register with Selective services?
Are you talking about the T-72s?
Yeah, do you have comment on T-72 before we do the last topic there?
What about them? We got Abrams.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Like, he was like, yeah, they're saying they're T-72s, but the Ukrainian anti-tank teams just ripped right through them. With
right, they sure did. Exactly. I'm going to say, that's why, like, what about them? We got Abrams.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, our Abrams tanks would just steamroll right over that.
Right.
Yeah, right. I mean, we just steamroll right over that. I mean, Russia just doesn't have the armaments. They don't have the money for it. The Cold War really did wipe them out. They were at rock bottom. And so whatever technology they got, they can't even make it. They can't pay to manufacture it. They can't replace. Right. They can't replace any of the stuff they lost because the stuff they lost is obsolete now by decades. Mm-hmm. You know, if you compare it to us, centuries.
And you think about it, everyone's talking about these Abrams tanks that we're giving them our obsolete Abrams. Think about that for a moment. That's going to rule the battlefield. That's not the like state of the art Abrams stuff. They had to take stuff off of those tanks to send them over there.
Right. Thank you. We're not going to give them all the computer stuff that's in those tanks or in the aircraft that we give people or sell people. You're not going to get you're not going to get the meat to the bones. You get the bones, you ain't going to get the meat. America's not that dumb. Okay. So,
Miss AK lady, she was like, there are 32 white folks in Montgomery County, though. Boy.
Listen, Miss AKA lady, there's way more white people than black people here. Yeah, there are. There's more white people than black people in Montgomery. A lot of black people, don't get me wrong. But if you're talking about Montgomery County, she's probably right though. There's more black people in Montgomery County than there are in the city. Like,
that's the part I was in. I was down in the state. I'm like, hey, I ain't seen no white folk down there, but I ain't gonna lie to you.
Where are you at now?
We were just driving through. Did we go through? We went through Mobile. Where did we go through? Not Mobile.
Mobile is in the south of Alabama.
Where we go through? I forget what we were just driving. The 10 cuts through there, right?
I think so.
We were on the 10.
Okay. Yeah. Now Montgomery, there's a lot of black people here. I think it's like 62% or something like that of the population in Montgomery, Alabama, in Montgomery County is black. But if you're talking about Montgomery and the surrounding areas like Pike Road, Troy Highway, stuff like that, then yeah, altogether it's way more white people. It's just white people move to the outskirts. You know what I'm saying? Montgomery County. It's just like anywhere else. They leave the inner part of it to black people in the outskirts. They commute, you know, just like anything else. Now, should women sign up for Selective services?
Yeah, and
No.
we got brother JT here, so I'm gonna switch this around so we can give you the floor. So should women sign up for selective services?
Yes.
No, they shouldn't.
Yes, they should.
Here's the thing, though. I say no because it's probably a biased opinion. Because I don't think that women should be in combat arms at all.
But being drafted doesn't put you in combat arms.
Right. They could be secretaries. They could be a lot of logistics. They could be in
everything that they are right now.
Yeah, they could be software development. They could be nurses. They could be doctors. All kinds of things. But to be drafted, to me, it's kind of a tradition thing. And because my answer is really simple. It's a tradition thing. It's something I'm used to. I don't think women should be forced to do it. But at the same time, they shouldn't have so much to complain about, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because they do have preferences, and it is a preference for women. When I was 18, I remember going to the post office and filling out that card. I know I can go right to the post office I went to right now where I signed up for selective services.
Yeah, I never did. I enlisted. They were like, you didn't fill it out. Like, bro, man, they sent me a notice. Like, bro, I am currently in like y'all sent me this notification. I'm currently in the desert fighting a war. Talking about I didn't sign up for selective services. Like, man, I'm in the army. But brother JT, you say that they should have to sign up for selective services.
Yeah, they should. I mean, why shouldn't they? They're doing almost everything that we're doing. So if we're looking at tradition, then we looking at the wrong thing, because there's no more tradition when it comes down to how women are in the workforce. That's just what it is. When I was in the military, guess what? You had you had the mother and the father both being deployed at the same time. And it wasn't supposed to be, but they still were. You had a lot of women. I was a mechanic. We had a whole bunch of women in our motor pool. Were they fixing on trucks? Not really. Were they doing recovery? Not really. They were basically doing job orders. That was basically what it was. But when we're talking about drafting them, why not? Why not?
Yeah. So because my thing is this, you hear this all the time, and they're like, well, women didn't have the right to vote. They were oppressive. Like, well, you didn't get the right to vote because they didn't have to put any skin in the game. You didn't have to go fight. So I think that all people, all adults in America should have to register with selective services. And if they don't, then they can't vote.
Absolutely. I agree.
Mandrell, what do you think?
That women shouldn't vote if they don't sign up for the draft?
If anyone doesn't sign up for selective services, male or female, at 18 or whatever, if they refuse to sign up for selective services, they can't vote, male or female.
Then you run into the problem of choice and freedom and democracy and all that. That's where you run into that's a brick wall you're going to run into with that one.
But isn't that the cost of freedom? You have to be able to put your body on the line for this country.
Yeah, here's the thing. Officially, I agree with you. In my personal opinion, I'll just give you that answer, the quick answer there. Do I agree with you? In my personal opinion, yes, I agree with you. You should not be allowed to vote if you're not willing to put your ass on the line. I did. Take part in the democratic process. Defend it. You love the freedoms and stuff you got so much. Defend it when it needs to be defended. So, but not everybody's equipped to do that. Not everybody wants to do that. But, arguing that in Congress, that's the problem you're going to have. Well, it's unconstitutional and this, that, and the third. They're going to bring up a lot of that.
What grounds would that be unconstitutional, though?
Well, because you're forcing someone to do it, to sign up for something. And when our military is completely voluntary, so to speak, until World War III breaks out, and then they need to conscript some people.
Until we start driving, that's what we're saying.
Until World War III breaks out, and then we need to start conscripting, and then it's not so voluntary anymore.
Right? You're drafted.
I don't mind the draft.
Person. If you calling yourself an independent woman, you should be selective service. That's exactly what it is. If you arguing that women can do just as much as men, you should be signing up for selective service.
Yeah. Welcome to the Army, Private Benjamin. That's how it
There
is.
you go.
But
That's just
Mandrell's
what
on
it
board
is.
with it, but he's just looking at the constitutionality of it. My thing is that it would just take a constitutional amendment and it's done. That's how we're doing it in America. You know what I mean? Miss AKA lady, she got some messages here for you, brother Mandrell. My family is off East Boulevard. I rarely see diversity. And also,
Well, look at the side of town you on, Miss AKA lady. Damn, of course you ain't gonna see diversity over there. You're not even gonna find the Mexicans.
Ooh.
Listen, I'm not trying to sound racist or nothing, but I'm being honest.
Too late.
Off East Boulevard, you're not even gonna find Mexicans, Asians, the Laotians. The Asians live in Chisholm. Okay, the rich ones live in Pike Road. Okay, ain't nothing over there but us, and I mean nothing else, DL.
But you know what? They're gonna give you a pass because Mandrell get to talk to somebody who know a little bit about Alabama because don't nobody know nothing about Alabama, bro. I was in Dothan, Daleville, Alabama, at Fort Rucker. That's all I know about Alabama, bro. Like, get me out of here.
I know nothing. I just knew people that were from Anderson and Birmingham. That's basically it.
Birmingham is a ghost. That place is a ghost town now. That place is a factory. It
Is
is. Yeah, Birmingham is now growing up, and even in my late teens and early 20s, that place used to be the place to go. It's only an 88-mile drive. Birmingham used to be the place to go, man. For nightlife and having fun and stuff like that. You go there now, you're like, what in the world happened to this place?
Yeah, the South happened to it.
Good God. Like, it's such a big stark contrast to what it used to be. And now Montgomery's growing. You go downtown Montgomery, that's where everyone is at night, especially on a Friday and a Saturday night. That's where you go. The twist is that there's not much else to do here. You know what I'm saying?
Right about that, bro. So let's roll it into final thoughts because I got to cook dinner for my daughter. I honestly thought that I was going to go maybe an hour on this topic, but it actually rolled in over 2 hours, which was good. We had a lot of interaction. My Fresh and Fit fan came through. So now they're all over watching Fresh and Fit because it's Monday. I'm sure they're on right now. So, Brother Mandrell, we'll start with you. Final thoughts, man, on everything we talked about. I know it was real quick, but should women have to register with Selective Service? And any other thoughts you have on anything we talked about? Talk about the war in Ukraine, the potential, what's going on in America, anything but Alabama. We don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, there's nothing to talk about in Alabama. So the war in Ukraine, like I said, after that first week of invasion and Ukraine was still standing, I knew then. I said, okay, Ukraine will pull out of this. They'll make it out. If they withstood a week, because they were doing guerrilla warfare, blowing up bridges and all that kind of stuff. After a week of it, I was like, and I saw the way they were fighting. I said, all right, they'll be okay. And then once we swung into action and helped them out, I said, oh, game over. Game. It's over now. Russia's not going to win. Should women be sign up for the draft? My personal opinion, yes, they should sign up for Selective Services. It doesn't mean that they have to fight, but they do have to contribute. They do need to help. Because when it comes to a conflict that's big enough, we need all hands on deck. You love the freedoms. You love all this other stuff. Hey, it ain't free. Like DL said, And what else you bring up? You had something else up there.
We were talking about Mexico invading Texas for Texas.
Oh, Mexico invading Texas? Yeah, that's a coin toss. If Texas was its own country and Mexico invaded, Mexico actually does have a chance there. Now, Texas has a lot of oil, just like Alaska, so they can afford to buy arms and pay their soldiers well and things like that. If they can buy arms from the rest of the United States, it's game over. Mexico has no chance. If they get aid from America, if Texas gets aid from America, no chance. Ball game, Texas wins, clean sweep. Okay, doesn't even go 6 games. So, but however, if they're all on their own, Mexico does have a chance because they're going to conscript people, right? Ordinary citizens, and ordinary citizens are going to go down there with the guns they bought from the local gun shops and all that stuff, and Bass Pro Shop, and they're going to be gung ho at the beginning, day one. But once the dying starts. In day 2, a lot of people are going to desert. A lot of people are going to run away. A lot of people are going to be shell shocked. They're going to lose their nerve. A lot of shock is going to happen because you don't know what war is until you actually been in a war. That's why I hate that phrase where you knew what you were signing up for. No, the fuck you don't. Pardon the language. But it is just that it's to emphasize the severity of it. You have no clue what you're signing up for until you see it for yourself. And you got to have your nuts screwed on tight to come back from something like that.
You ain't lying about that. And the Mexicans, they see that blood and gore every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's my take on those on those topics. Deal. Good show. Keep bringing the heat, man. Keep bringing it. I'm enjoying the content.
Man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, bro. We're gonna keep doing what we do, man. And I appreciate you, man. So man, Joe, tell everybody where they can find you. You know the routine.
Yeah, you can find me every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Central Time on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. These days, I'm tied up now. I've found something that's got my attention in a good way, and it's paying off very, very well. And so I'm busy with that. So I may be on a Tuesday night or a Friday night, and I may not. You know what I'm saying? But you're probably going to see less of me. But I am guaranteed to be there on Wednesday nights on my show, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, every Wednesday on the Black Man Unfiltered Network for my show called Unapologetic with Mandrell and Shushu. Shushu is my younger sister. She co-hosts with me. Go back and watch last week's show. And go back and watch our last show from last week. That was we had a very special guest on, Chicago Rilla from Lapeef Let's Talk. He was our special guest there last week. Yeah,
I hated it. Hey man, Dread, I hated that I didn't get a chance because when he was in my wheelhouse right there when he started talking about hip hop, I was like, oh, I hate that I wasn't there.
I knew with him. I knew us. All I had to do was say, "Hey, Rilla, what's up? Hip hop," and just let him go.
He was gone with it.
Yeah, he was going. He is an encyclopedia of knowledge when it comes to hip hop. And you would have gave him a run for his money, man. Y'all have gone head to head with that.
Yeah, I think we would have agreed on a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, on the vast majority of it, you guys would have agreed on it.
Because he was hitting everything on point. I was like, "Whoo, shit!" He was saying stuff that I was like, "Damn, people forgot about that." Especially the De La Soul, the whole De La Soul thing. So yeah. So anybody that has records, I take them serious. Anybody that got vinyl and they pulling out vinyl,
right?
I take them very serious. No doubt.
He started pulling out the wax and showing people, man. I was like, "Yo, okay."
And there it is right there. I'm about to go back and watch that one, man. So, man, Drill, thank you so much, bro. I love it when
Thank
you
you
come
for
up
having
here.
me. Thank you for having me.
You always honor me with your presence, man. I appreciate it, bro.
I'm honored to be here.
So I'm gonna holler at you, man.
All right, man. Later.
Peace. And then there were two final thoughts, brother JT, man. What are your final thoughts on should women have to register with Selective Services and anything else we touched on during the show?
Yeah, I think that women do. They should. I think it should have been 20 years ago that they should have already passed that. I mean, it's just cut and dry. You know, a lot of these women, they say that they can do what men do. They call themselves independent, and you know, they move like, you know, they got it together. So they should be able to take on everything that we're taking on, especially when it comes down to the possibility of serving your country. Absolutely. You know, I don't know too much about the whole thing which you guys were talking about with the Mexico and Texas. So I don't have anything to add with that right there, brother.
Yeah, it was a hypothetical. It was just a hypothetical. And so yeah, man. So I appreciate also for you, man. Where can everybody find you?
You can find me at What We Know Podcast. I'm getting ready to start back doing my lives again. Saturday nights. It's going to be a toss up if I do one on Thursdays. You can also see me on the panel with Black Man Unfiltered, Mandrell, and sometimes with my man DL on the barbershop on Black Man Unfiltered Network. And I got a couple other things I'm not going to announce yet, but I got a couple other channels that I'm really rocking right now. So that's why I kind of took a little time off doing these lives, because I have a couple of other channels that I'm trying to I got one already monetized. I'm trying to get the other one monetized also. So that's basically where you can find me at, man. What We Know podcast, Black Man Unfiltered.
And that's what's up. Thank you, man. Always an honor and a privilege to have you on my platform, man. Like I say, man, thank you so much. Always there for a brother. And you know, if you need me, all you gotta do is call. I'll be there. I'm going hard right now, man. So you know what it is.
Got you.
So
Yes, sir.
all right, man. I'll holler at you in a little bit.
All right, brother.
Peace. And so yeah, man, there we have it. I just want to catch up with the chats. Brother Dork had no fresh and fit tonight, but great show. Thank you for that, brother. I really appreciate it, man. Fitney Jules, yeah. FF Discord is saying there's no shows today. Cody is king. Great show, guys. Nice to hear your thoughts. And then Brother Dorkhead again is like, Myers not feeling well, so we're not doing a show tonight. I ain't know that, man. I gotta check in on my brother, man. He probably just jet lag. You know how hard he goes and his routine. Mess up that routine, you know, you tend to get sick or whatever. So yeah, I appreciate all that, fellas. My final thoughts on this. I do believe women at the age of 18, not just women, but everyone, lottie dottie, everybody should have to sign up with Selective service, and everyone should be drafted if the need arises. I believe that that should be the law of the land. You know, and as far as, you know, people out here getting on these platforms and, you know, debating or having, you know, want to articulate their thoughts and feelings on issues, be prepared for pushback. Men and women, ladies and gentlemen, be prepared for pushback. And if you can't handle a debate, don't get in one. Don't go on the panel. You know, you got all these people out here trying to get clout, or they're trying to drive, you know, people to their funnel so they can do whatever, be it OF or Patreon or whatever it is they're doing. That's fine. But understand, like, if you get on one of these panels and they're going to make you talk and defend your position and you can't, you lose points. Simple as that. That poor young lady, she lost points. But it doesn't matter, because I'm sure she got 100 dudes to jump on her OF and she's making all kind of money. And I ain't mad at her. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, don't hate the player, hate the game. This was great, guys. Thanks for coming and rocking out with me. Tomorrow, look at the board. Tomorrow, we're going to do an episode. I Really Want to Know podcast. It's going to be Andrew Tate, Pierce Morgan play chess. I'm pretty sure my people, the RP side, they've seen the video I'm talking about. I'm going to pull that video up and react to Andrew Tate, you know what I mean, destroying Pierce Morgan, and my take on that, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. You know, Tate handled it like a G, as he always does, and Morgan just looked like a mess. So we're going to do that tomorrow, guys. I'm going to make the thumbnail tonight. I'll put it out, and be looking for DL shorts and stuff like that. We're talking about the insurance situation that's going on down here in Florida. We're also talking about what's going on with the financial situation with the regional banks. And it looks like Jerome Powell is about ready to begin lowering interest rates again, because he's afraid of what's going on with Wall Street, and he's afraid of this recession that's about to hit, and he's afraid of the hard landing. So he's going to lower interest rates and make the landing even harder. So we're going to be talking about that on the DL shorts and whatever else I may find out there, man. So thanks again, y'all, for rocking out with me. I truly appreciate it. You know what I mean? Miss AKA Lady, thank you so much. Good show. Thank you, love. I appreciate you. That's a hand clap for you. An applause for you and everyone who was rocking with us today. My fresh and fit fam. Cody is king, Dorkhead. You know what I mean? Everybody else, Brother Pitney, everybody else was in here, Brother Dorkhead. Like I said, man. And you know, that a fresh and fit Discord, I'm already logged in. I'm on there, bro. I'm about to start being in there. I'll be in the background listening to what y'all young brothers are talking about, yo. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting the brother. I truly appreciate it. I'm DL Saint. This is the Downrange Podcast, man. I'm going to talk to y'all later. Peace.
Darn, that's the end.